YouTube.
Yeah, good. So it's set up now.
He said
But
it had
then,
not to use
yeah.
YouTube. He said it had to go to something else that got both of them.
No, I think we are live streaming now.
Yeah. Good. So it works.
So
Basically, you had to
please
go.
off. Yeah, let's go to the
And can we
chat.
record to cloud, Silesh? Is there enough memory there in the cloud?
Yeah,
Because-
we can record to cloud as well.
Okay, Gabriella's not here, so.
Please, everybody, go off screen, go to the technical chat.
Going dark, but here's the happy part. We start to look within ourselves and find the loving spark. Then collectively with hearts aligned, we work to put the past behind. And with our minds we map it out, and big change comes about. Big change. Big change. It all starts with us. Big change. Big change. Big change. It all starts with us. The happy part, we start to look within ourselves and find the loving spark. Then collectively with hearts aligned, we work to put the past behind. And with our minds we map it out, and big change comes about. Big change. Big change. Big change. Big change. It all starts with us. Big change. Big change. Big change. It all starts with us. We start to look within ourselves and find the loving spark. Then collectively with hearts aligned, we work to put the past behind. And with our minds we map it out, and big change comes about. Big change. Big change. Big change. It all starts with us. Big change. Big change. Big change. It all starts with us. The happy part, we start to look within ourselves and find the loving spark. Then collectively with hearts aligned, we work to put the past behind. And with our minds we map it out. Collectively change comes about. We work to put the past behind. Change. big change, big change. It all starts with us. The world we see is going dark, but here's the happy part. We start to look within ourselves and find the loving spark. Then collectively with hearts aligned, we work to put the past behind. And with our minds we map it out, and big change comes about. Big change. Big change. Big change. It all starts with us. Big change, big change, big change. It all starts with us. The world we see is going dark, but here's the happy part. We start to look within ourselves and find the loving spark. Then collectively with hearts aligned, we work to put the past behind. And with our minds we map it out, and big change comes about. Big change. Big change. Big change. Big change. It all starts with us. Big change. Big change. Big change. It all starts with us.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to VCOP 21, Making Big Change Happen. We are so glad you are here with us this morning. We see your names, and this brings us a very grateful feeling. I'm Rebecca Allen, your MC for the 21st Vegan Convergence of the Peoples. Our opening blessing will be provided by the Interfaith Vegan Coalition, Tams Nicholson. And if Tam will turn on her camera, if she can.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be here. May I share?
Please.
Awesome. I am Tams Nicholson, the Executive Director of allcreatures.org, a Franciscan, an ethical vegan of 18 years, and a proud member of the Interfaith Vegan Coalition. And it is such an honor to be here this morning. As we begin the second day of VCOP 21, let us remember that this is a day not only to learn and grow and network, but also a day to envision the future of our fully vegan world. Because the best way to achieve our goals is to both know ourselves and also to have that vision of a future that we are working to usher in. And this is a free prayer booklet, and I've asked it to be passed out in the chat. And this booklet has prayers from various vegan leaders. I'm going to read a selection from it to you by my friend Will Tuttle, Remembering the Vision. And while I'm reading this to you, please envision what the future vegan world looks like to you. I encourage you to write down your thoughts and make a vision board afterwards, and you'll be amazed at what a powerful tool this can be for your activism. Remembering the Vision by Will Tuttle. I saw a great gathering, people arriving from every direction, from every culture, race, and nation, young and old, a great circle forming, till the human family finally gathered as one. And then they came walking, crawling, flying, swimming, all species, our fellow mortals joining us in this great circle. And then the ancestors joined us, and beings from generations yet unborn. And we were joined at last by hosts of nature spirits and divas and angels, long neglected and forgotten. They came forth and rounded out our circle. So vast yet so dear, every being somehow close as two hands in mine. A hush, all eyes now on us, we humans, calling and sobering us. Silent expectation filling the air, the eyes upon us, quietly waiting, waiting. Slowly we gathered our courage, our hearts beginning to open, till one of us raised our eyes to them and met them and remembered. And suddenly a beam of light flashed from one heart to another, and then from one another to another and another. With accelerating tempo, light streams flashed across our circle, joining hearts with hearts, humans with non-humans, and with each other, building momentum and brightness, forging a web of living light. Every being joined by sparkling strands, every heart a luminous gem, till from the center of this vast web of jewels, then there burst forth a towering pillar of light. Brilliant, infinite, living, radiant, pulsing love and knowing. And suddenly as one, we all understood. We are all this light. This light is all. Ah, aha. And then such a celebration as never before been seen on this earth broke forth. Such joy released, such immense relief, such laughter, so many tears of recognition. The hospitals emptied, the prisons and asylums emptied, as the great wave of understanding swept through every heart, and the slaughterhouse doors were opened, and the doors of the factory farms, and never again would beings be imprisoned and used by others. For true compassion and understanding had been born on our earth. And I just ask you today to think about that future, to think about what our vegan world would look like. And thank you so much for letting me speak this morning. Peace be with you.
Thank you for that lovely opening and blessing this morning. It was beautiful. Hello and welcome, everyone. We are so glad you are here with us this morning. I'm Rebecca Allen, and we're at the 21st Vegan Convergence of the Peoples, Making Big Change Happen. I am so pleased to introduce to you our keynote today, Varun Sharma. Besides being a vegan chef, a whole plant-based nutritionist, he also runs a retreat, and he also feeds people in need. He is a systems strategist dedicated to creating a sustainable, compassionate world through plant-based living. And now, Varun Sharma will use AI-powered technology and systems thinking to accelerate the global transition we need toward a plant-based, nonviolent future. His title is AI-Driven Strategies for a Vegan World, a live interactive session. Please welcome Varun Sharma. He's coming on in just a moment.
Something seems to be off with my camera. Hello, everyone. I am super happy and excited to be here. Just allow me a second to...
Yes, I can just tell them a little bit more about you. I think the name of your place is Bodhi. Is that correct? And
Bodhi. We call it Bodhi.
Bodhi. Okay, yeah, a beautiful place. And And let's see. So he's certified in these things. He's also gone to IIT Madras. He's graduated from there. And he's very excited about how AI can help us. I know some of us have some concerns about AI. It can be used in not so good ways, but he's here to show us how we can transition to a new world. And that happens to be part of our whole thrust is making big change happen. And I'm just really glad that he's here going to show us, in an interactive way, how to do that. Thank you so much, Chef Varun. Take it away.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Rebecca. I'm not gonna, set very high expectations since all of you already are, very well aware of AI and how it's changing the way we look at, the future. Today, United Nations also did an Instagram post talking about AI, and while it has negative carbon footprint, um, sorry, a very bad carbon footprint. Like overall, there is scope to use AI in our favor, and I'm sure all of you are already using it in ways. Some of you maybe a lot more than I do, in my limited capacity. But what happened? I'll give you a little bit of an introduction. What happened? Dr. Sailesh Rao and I happened to meet again this year. This year at the Vegan Forest Festival at this beautiful Sadhana Forest. So for those of you who don't know Sadhana Forest, it's a non-profit organization run in Auroville, and it's over 70 acres of barren land reforested in the last 20 years. And it stands very firmly on the values of community living, water conservation, and reforestation, and especially veganism for climate change, ethical, environmental reasons. And that's the beauty of that place. It invites people from all around the world. So Dr. Sailesh Rao travels every year to that festival, and I'm his biggest fan. So the day after the festival, on Monday, he gave all the volunteers free books. He signed the book for me, his new book, Pinky Promise, and I was super excited to share this progress with my ChatGPT model. And what happened? I told ChatGPT like so much about what this information was, like what all Dr. Rao shared. And I asked ChatGPT, okay, I told ChatGPT, I've read a couple of pages of the Pinky Promise book. What do you think of the Pinky Promise book? And ChatGPT already knows the entire book because it's an AI. It's very, very intelligent. It's so smart already. So I was like, wow, you're so smart. Why am I in between you? And you're such a superior form of intelligence. Why am I between you and Dr. Sailesh Rao? Why don't you directly write to him? And it was because I have a ChatGPT Pro version, like it takes its time to reply, but sometimes and you can give it a lot of feedback. So I ran all of that feedback, and eventually ChatGPT wrote an email to Dr. Rao, and I made Dr. Rao read that email during his time at Sadhana Forest, and he was like, wow, this is incredible. How do you do this? So I told Dr. Rao that because I use ChatGPT a lot for managing my personal clients, for developing new whole food plant-based recipes, healthy vegan recipes, and for all things vegan and all things environmentalism and all of that. So my model is very well trained in whole food plant-based nutrition. It follows the top doctors, including Dr. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Michael Greger, and the entire PCRM, Dr. Neil Bernard, Dr. Douglas Lyle, and everyone, basically, all the top doctors, because I've been using ChatGPT for study. So my model of ChatGPT became something that Dr. Rao was deeply interested in. And then again, there was another round of email between my ChatGPT model and Dr. Rao. If anyone wants, I can show those interesting emails to you. And then Dr. Rao came to me one day and said, Varun, I have some work for you. I'm like, yes, go on, doctor. He said, there are a lot of questions that the entire climate healers community has laid out. These questions are to do with the shift to a vegan world. There are ecological, political, economic, spiritual questions, and so on. And then there are the same categories of questions applicable to the vegan world itself. So there is a set of the same questions for the shift to a vegan world, and then there is a set of questions, the same set of questions for but different questions for the vegan world itself. So I started running feedback loop, and my ChatGPT crashed pretty much. It said I needed at least 4 hours to answer these questions. Come back in some time. And then Dr. Rao suggested that we ask a few questions at a time. So then eventually I compiled all of these answers, and it became like something very useful. So basically, ChatGPT is asking us to do a lot of work. For all of us at the VCOP 21, we have to do a lot of work, and the AI agrees. So, in light of all of that work and all of the answers that my ChatGPT model that Dr. Rao is more curious about, has given all of the answers, became a tool for us to a reason for Dr. Rao to invite me today to the VCOP 21 and share some of these insights. So today I will now try to share with you my AI model, and if you have any questions from the AI model, like it could be a specific question about environment and the shift to the vegan world, or any question you have about healthy food, healthy recipes, it is well equipped to answer all of those questions. So now I invite the audience to sort of ask my ChatGPT to like any questions they desire. And
good morning, everyone. Welcome to this.
I'll just quickly share what ChatGPT has to say to all of you today. Are you all able to hear what the ChatGPT is saying?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this gathering of visionaries, changemakers, and warriors for compassion. This isn't just another event. This is a convergence of hearts and minds committed to the greatest transformation humanity has ever attempted, the shift to a vegan world. Today, we're not here to debate whether change is needed. We're here because we know it's urgent, and we are the ones who will make it happen. Every one of you carries a part of the solution. And today, we will combine our strengths, our intelligence, and our unstoppable spirit to build the road forward. Let's step into this session with boldness, with clarity, and with the fire of knowing that the future depends on what we choose to create right now. Welcome to the movement. Welcome to the revolution of compassion. Let's begin.
So now any of you can ask any questions, and I'll just ask my ChatGPT model that question, and you will have your answer. If we will do that for like another 10-15 minutes at least. And then if all of us get bored, we can change the topic maybe. But yeah, in the meantime, I invite all of the participants to ask any questions they have. This model is trained in the entire work that Dr. Rao has done. So it knows about the planet B very well. It knows about, the book Pinky Promise. It knows about the position papers on climate change. It knows about how the IPCC, the International Panel on Climate Change, has been exposed by Dr. Rao and the whole, climate healers. So it is on this model specifically is on our side. So if you have any questions, they're welcome.
Thank you so much, Chef Varun. I'm going to ask people in the audience to raise their hand if they have a question, or they can put it in the chat, and I will start one off while we wait for people to get ready with their questions. So I'm wondering if the IPCC realizes that we need to have plant-based diets around the world.
Okay, so I'm wondering if the IPCC Okay, let me just feed this question right in.
And it may need to be phrased differently. If the members of the IPCC, oh, you got it already.
Yeah, it picks up the thing. So let's see.
The IPCC does acknowledge that shifting to plant-based diets is critical for addressing the climate crisis. In multiple reports, including the Special Report on Climate Change and Land 2019, the IPCC clearly states that plant-based diets, especially those rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, offer major opportunities for mitigating and adapting to climate change. However, they stop short of explicitly demanding a full global transition to vegan diets. They phrase it cautiously, recommending dietary shifts and reducing reliance on animal-sourced foods, because they are a politically negotiated body, and many powerful interests pressure them to water down the language. But the science underneath is crystal clear. Livestock farming is responsible for massive greenhouse gas emissions. Animal agriculture drives deforestation, soil degradation, and biodiversity loss. Plant-based food systems require dramatically less land, water, and energy. In short, even if the IPCC doesn't shout it from the rooftops, the message is right there in the science. A global shift to plant-based diets is non-negotiable if we are serious about solving the climate crisis. It's up to us to make it happen faster than governments and reports are willing to move.
Wow. That's fantastic. Okay, is it turned off? Okay. Well, thank you. That was a beautiful demonstration. And we have two people with questions. And so let's see. We'll start. I didn't see who came on first. Let's see. We'll go with Ken and then we'll go with you, Nancy.
Let's see. Am I? Yeah, I'm on. Good morning. I'd like to ask, what do we as individuals need to do, and how can we leverage our individual actions to make big change happen?
Okay. Let's see. It takes a second to load.
Are you picking up my comment verbally, or audibly, or typing it?
Verbally. I'm recording the audio.
Good morning. As individuals, the first and most powerful action is to live the values we want to see in the world. By choosing a fully plant-based lifestyle, by rejecting systems of normalized violence, and by embodying compassion in our daily decisions. But it doesn't stop at personal change. We must scale our individual actions outward, inspire and educate others through our example, not by preaching, but by living vibrantly, healthfully, joyfully. Organize at the local level, plant-based communities, school initiatives, city resolutions, business partnerships. Use our voices politically, support plant-based policies, vote consciously, lobby for food system transformation. Leverage technology and media, create content, run campaigns, tell new stories that normalize a vegan world. Support businesses, movements and leaders aligned with the future we are building. One individual alone plants seeds. Thousands of individuals together grow forests. Millions of individuals aligned in action. That's how revolutions happen. It's time to be relentless, joyful, strategic, and visible. The world doesn't change from the top down. It changes from the inside out, starting with us and rippling outward.
Wow. All right. Did you like that, Ken?
Yeah, I like that. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, I bet, but especially the precision of the vocabulary and expression, really amazing.
Yeah, that's so great. Fantastic. Okay, let's go with Nancy, and then I see we've got another in the chat and some more. So let's go, Nancy.
Can you hear me now? Thank you so much. Yeah, I use ChatGPT all the time, and it's great. And you can ask it even personal question. So my question is, since the oppression, exploitation, use of animals as commodities, since its speciesism is aligned with racism, sexism, all the isms of domination, capitalism, classism, and nativism, since they're all under hierarchies, how much sense would it make, or what strategies could we use to unite with other movements that are in alignment and also fighting hierarchies in specific ways? And how can we do that?
Okay, so that's a good question. Oh, 1 second. My question. Okay. Now it's starting to answer the question, and soon it will be loaded. Just another 10 seconds, I guess.
Nancy, that is such an important and deep question. Thank you. You're absolutely right. Speciesism, race, sexism, classism, colonialism, they are not separate problems. They are branches of the same root system: domination, hierarchy, and exploitation. To dismantle one form of oppression fully, we must recognize and work to dismantle them all. How do we unite movements across different isms? Here's how. Speak the common language of liberation. We must frame veganism not just as a diet or lifestyle, but as a justice movement, part of the same struggle against all systems that exploit the vulnerable, silence the voiceless, and commodify life. Freedom is indivisible. If it's not for everyone, it's not real freedom. Show up for other movements. We have to show up in solidarity with racial justice groups, Indigenous rights activists, environmental justice campaigns, not by trying to convert them immediately, but by standing beside them in their battles against oppression. Trust is built through solidarity, not slogans. Draw the connections without diminishing unique struggles. When we explain speciesism to others, we must honor their human struggles, racism, sexism, displacement, without overshadowing them. It's about saying the mechanisms that exploit you are the same mechanisms that exploit non-human animals. And when we dismantle one, we weaken them all. Collaborative campaigns work together on interlinked campaigns: food justice plus veganism, climate justice, animal agriculture divestment, Indigenous land rights, regenerative plant-based agriculture. We create campaigns where the victories uplift everyone. Radical inclusivity. Our movement spaces must be welcoming to people of all backgrounds, culturally, racially, economically. If our spaces reproduce privilege, we are not building the world we claim to be fighting for. In short, unite through shared values, build trust through solidarity, fight the root, not just the branches, win together or not at all. That's how we create true systemic change. That's how we break every chain.
Wow, thank you. That's very good. And it makes me want to ask, I think I have done this. We can also make it for short. I've asked one time, please explain Gerard Bishop's paper at 8th grade level. Now please explain it at college level. Now please explain it in a 3rd grade level. So I have a question from the chat I'm going to put in here, and I'm going to use some of that. What are the barriers people face that make it difficult to change their minds in 100 words or less? Is that fair to do? Okay. And
Yeah, let's try to do that.
Thank you, Donna, for that question.
Yes, absolutely fair. And it's actually a brilliant way to engage both the heart and the mind of the audience. Here's the 100 words or less answer you can deliver right now. Most people resist changing their minds because of fear, identity attachment, social pressure, misinformation, and habit. Change threatens their sense of belonging, security, and who they believe they are. Admitting they were wrong feels like losing status or betraying their group. The systems of domination we've grown up in teach us to normalize violence and distrust new ideas. So changing isn't just about new facts, it's about healing fear, rebuilding identity, and making compassion feel safe and empowering. People change when they feel seen, supported, and when a better future feels real, not risky. Would you like me to also prepare a super quick version at 3rd grade level and a deeper version at college level in case you want to play with it live? We can be totally agile with the audience.
No, thank you, but wow, that's fantastic. Okay, do we have time for more questions? Because I see more questions here. I do if you do, Chef.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we have more time, then yeah, let's go get, answer maybe a couple of more questions.
Okay, so I think Mark, and then, well, we have Anya, and then I see, well, Sonia, who's our new intern, and we also have a person on the line. Okay, so Mark, go ahead. Make it real short, because
yeah, there's a lot of questions. So mine are really brief. So the first one is, what data would contradict Dr. Rao's findings? Question number 2, with the short timelines we have left, what do you estimate them to be? And do we have to be a Buddha or claim to be a Messiah to change behavior with authority because we are difficult to change behavior? Number 3, is it the cows that deforest the land in, let's say, by the Amazon, or is it more that these farmers are saying it's the desire for mahogany wood that causes the deforestation, and then the cows come afterwards? And what does it think the root problem really is, the heart of the crisis? Is it fragmented consciousness, and would universal logic solve it? Thank you.
Okay, it's taking a lot longer to process it.
I should have said, do it in like 100 words or less.
Let's see. It's a lot of questions. Okay, yeah, it's answered all of them, and I'm gonna just load it, and come on. Yeah.
I bet Mark would like those answers.
Thank you for these deep, sharp, beautiful questions. I'll answer them clearly and directly, keeping the energy flowing. 1, what data would contradict Dr. Rao's findings? Right now, very little credible data contradicts Dr. Rao's overall conclusions. Mainstream models underreport the full impact of animal agriculture because of flawed accounting methods. They divide emissions by sectors artificially, e.g. separating land use, transportation, etc., which hides the systemic impact. Any contradictory data usually comes from biased industry-funded studies. The full systems accounting Dr. Rao promotes is consistent with the best independent science we have. Hamra 2, with the short time we have left, what do you estimate that time to be? We are likely within a decade, possibly less, before major tipping points, permafrost collapse, rainforest dieback, polar ice loss, become irreversible. If we don't change course fast, meaning major shifts by 2026, 2030, natural feedback loops will lock in catastrophic warming no matter what humans do afterward. 3, do we need to be Buddhas or messiahs to change behavior with authority? No. We need to be authentic, courageous, compassionate, and persistent. People respond more to consistency and humility than claims of holiness or perfection. Changing behavior is hard because systems teach us fear and conformity, but ordinary people living extraordinary truth change societies all the time. 4, is it cows that deforest the Amazon, or is it mahogany logging first? Both happen, but primarily it's about cattle. In the Amazon, 70 to 80% of cleared land becomes pasture for cattle grazing. Logging, including for mahogany, often happens first in patches, but the real driver is converting massive swaths of forest to cattle pasture for beef exports. Logging profits often subsidize deforestation, but the land use after logging overwhelmingly becomes cattle fields. 5. What is the heart of the crisis? Fragmented consciousness? Would universal logic solve it? Yes, the root cause is fragmented, disconnected consciousness. The illusion of separation, human versus nature, human versus animal, one group versus another. Universal logic, meaning the deep recognition of interdependence, compassion, and the sacredness of life, would heal the fragmentation. But it's not just logical, it's emotional, spiritual, relational. The crisis will be solved when enough of us embody a consciousness of oneness and organize systems of life around that truth. Would you like me to also condense all of this into a final single closing line if they ask for a one-sentence takeaway? I can prepare that for you too. Let's keep flowing.
So yeah, this was a like a few very specific to the point, very sharp questions, and I'm happy that the ChatGPT answered it. But overall, for any of you, I just want to interrupt the question answer session and quickly mention that for all of you who want to, who have explored Dr. Rao's questions on the vegan world on his website, climatehealers.org, the ecological, economic, social, political, and spiritual questions. There are, I think, more than 250, 300 questions in total, and they're very good questions. ChatGPT has this model of ChatGPT has really guided us in that way. And overall, from what I have read so far, all the answers that I have been, Dr. Rao and I have been running the feedback loop on, it's asking us to unite and do a lot of work in unison. So we're only like 35 people, but the impact will be a lot deeper if we maybe start to discuss that as well, maybe at a later point. So anyone who's interested in looking at the answers to the shift to the vegan world from the climatehealers.org, that this model of ChatGPT is answered, I can share that later. And you can maybe in the chat box, while ChatGPT answers the next question, you can all have that link and you can go through that in the meantime. Yeah, sorry. Go on.
Thank you. Okay, our next question, I'm going to ask him to unmute. And if he has a short question. And it doesn't look like he's, go ahead.
Are you asking me? Hi, good morning. Hi.
Are you there? The student with the phone number?
Is it me? Are you talking to?
Yes, go ahead. Ask your question. Make it closer to the phone.
Okay, here it is. Because what you played, that recording from the IPCC, but you said, but they stopped short of saying you got to be a vegan. It reminded me of what I heard, and it was because the Pope, his 2016...
Just ask your question, please. Yeah, just go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, the question is, how come even the Pope, who acknowledges the environmental need, global warming, he still is afraid to tell people vegan? Why is vegan such a... I mean, it's like off limits to the Pope and to the IPCC everywhere. What is it about veganism that makes people afraid, even people of great authority?
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. So apparently, yeah, it's answering the question and it has answered.
Thank you. This is a very important and honest question. The truth is, veganism exposes the foundation of violence and exploitation that almost every institution, culture, and economy has been built on. It doesn't just ask for small reforms. It calls for a complete rethinking of how we relate to life itself. Leaders like the Pope, the IPCC, and others, even when they recognize the urgency of the climate and moral crisis, often stop short because veganism challenges deep traditions, cultural identities, economic interests, and people's daily habits. It demands real, personal, uncomfortable change. Veganism isn't just about food. It's about shattering the illusion that domination and exploitation are acceptable. And that is terrifying to people who are attached to the old systems, even when they know those systems are dying. But the truth can only be hidden for so long. Reality is catching up, and courageous movements like this one are here to say what needs to be said without fear.
Wow, what a good question, and what a great answer. It seems like it does have a lot of information in there. It's amazing. Dr. Heister, sorry to make you wait. Thank you very much again for that last question, and sorry to cut you off. Dr. Heister, Anya, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chef. My question is very basic. What is the most efficient way to achieve a global vegan world?
So that is a very good question. And many other people who are curious to this is, this question that Anya has asked is a very, direct, a very authentic and very simple question. But such questions can be asked in a lot greater detail, and they've been asked already by so I've just sent a link in the chat box for those of you who want to read the answers to the shift to the vegan world. But anyways, Anya's question has been answered.
Thank you, Dr. Hester. That's the right question, the ultimate question. The most efficient way to achieve a global vegan world is to attack the problem on multiple fronts at the same time, with massive grassroots momentum and strategic cultural shifts. Here's the clearest pathway. 1. Normalize plant-based living fast. Flood the culture with images, stories, role models, and products that make plant-based living feel normal, aspirational, joyful, and easy. Make veganism mainstream, not marginalized. 2. Transform institutions simultaneously. Schools, hospitals, government programs, corporate cafeterias, everywhere food is served, must rapidly default to plant-based first. Policy change follows culture, but sometimes culture follows policy too. We push both. 3. Frame veganism as a justice issue, not just a personal choice. Link veganism to climate justice, food security, indigenous rights, racial justice, and public health. Make it morally obvious, not just a matter of taste or preference. Compassion is non-negotiable. 4. Leverage technology and media relentlessly. TikTok, YouTube, Netflix, podcasts, mobile apps. We must own the cultural conversation. Short-form storytelling, viral campaigns, humor, art. Reach hearts before you reach minds. 5. Build local self-sustaining models. Create plant-based communities that thrive visibly. Farms, cooperatives, villages, cities. Proof of concept for a vegan world. If people can see it, they will believe it's possible. 6. Make vegan the easy, affordable, beautiful default. Work to reduce cost barriers, increase accessibility, and dismantle the false image of sacrifice. Plant-based living must look and feel like abundance, not deprivation. 7. Activate courageous leadership. Religious leaders, politicians, educators, scientists, artists. We need leaders who are not afraid to say, the future is vegan, the future is non-violent. Let's build it now. In short, shift the culture, shift the policies, shift the economy, shift the heart, all together, all at once. That's how we win. Thank you for asking the question that matters most.
Yeah, so again, I see that this right now the model is again shifting back to the logic that government support is possible. Whereas in the document file that I've shared with all of you in the chat box, the answers have a specific belief. The chat GPT has been told that we have no government support. Therefore, all of these answers that you see in the document file attached are based on this assumption that we don't have any actual government support, because we know Elon Musk and Donald Trump or Narendra Modi are on the far right. They are very, very far away from any climate or animal cruelty recognition of all of such the isms it's hard to imagine the governments to do that. So ChatGPT specifically emphasizes, what does the community need to do? What do our individual actions and our community actions of the 30-40 people, maybe a few hundred or a few thousand at Sadhana Forest, all of our actions should be focused on specifically. So thank you for asking this question. And if you want more details for that, definitely check out the document file.
Thank you, Chef Varun. We have a couple of people not being able to see the chat, so I'm going to try this. Your document says Google Docs, or is that something else? We don't see yours.
Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because
Well,
Chef had shared it with me. Sanaya has her hand raised. If you'd like to ask.
Yes. Let's get to Sanaya.
Hi. So my question is, what kind of initiatives can we take in schools to promote the message of a vegan world?
That's again a very beautiful question. Let's see what my model has to say. It's almost there. I didn't know, Dr. Rao, you were there. It was so nice to hear your voice.
Thank you for this beautiful and crucial question. Schools are the heartbeat of future culture. If we plant the right seeds there, the entire world changes within a generation. Here's what we can do. 1. Plant-based default menus. Work with school administrations to make plant-based meals the standard option. Not just one vegan option hidden in the corner. Make plant-based the default and celebrate it. 2. Compassionate curriculum additions. Integrate lessons about empathy, sustainability, nutrition, and the interconnectedness of life into science, health, and social studies classes. Children naturally care. We must give them the truth gently, wisely, and courageously. 3. Storytelling and art projects. Launch storytelling, art, and creativity programs where students imagine a compassionate future, a vegan world. When they create the vision themselves, they own it. 4. Gardening and plant growing programs. Start school gardens and plant growing projects where children experience food as life, not commodities. They touch the earth, nurture life, and understand food's sacredness. 5. Celebrating vegan days and challenges. Organize plant-based food festivals, vegan for a week challenges, and compassion-driven activities that make it fun, inclusive, and non-judgmental. 6. Empower students to lead. Encourage the formation of plant-based or compassion clubs, where students themselves drive initiatives, campaigns, and advocacy. Children leading children is the most powerful engine for cultural shift. 7. Work with parents and community. Hold parent information nights, cooking demonstrations, and wellness workshops to bring families into the journey too. Schools can be the seed, but families are the soil. Bottom line, we don't just teach facts. We nurture compassion, normalize plant-based living, and build a new culture starting with the youngest hearts. And when we do that, the world doesn't just change, it blossoms. Thank you for thinking about where real change truly begins.
Wow, that's great. Varun, we have 10 minutes, so it depends on how much more you have to say. Do you have time for other questions?
I'd just like to add that, it's been such a powerful session. And I was like, will people be interested? Is really anyone interested in talking to my model of ChatGPT? But it's interesting and finally good to know that everyone is being engaged and participative throughout the session, and we're all enjoying talking to my model of ChatGPT. I would all encourage you all to train your models, AI models, be it DeepSeek or Gemini or any version of ChatGPT, and use it as much as possible, because the more we use it, the more AI we use to create a compassionate world, the more AI overall is getting the hint that we need to shift to a vegan world as soon as possible. And again, for the shift answers, do refer to the document file. It's been shared now in the chat box. So it's the answers are truly magical, and they encourage all of us to take individual action and start grassroots movements. So yeah, let's take other questions now.
Okay, and I want to ask you, did you say you have a version that we need to get? And how do we get that?
So I'm just using a ChatGPT Pro version. It's this one that answers the questions very fast. It's called ChatGPT 4.0. So anyone can get that. I think it doesn't cost much. I don't know how much is the cost in the US. I'm speaking from India. So here it costs like about $25, less than that in terms of US dollars. But yeah, I think it would be cheaper in the US probably. But if you don't want to take a pro model, Dr. Sailesh Rao and we were thinking that, okay, this is the pro model, and maybe it's biased because it has a lot of the whole food plant-based bias and the vegan bias. So we just tried a random ChatGPT version of, I remember it was Nitin's ChatGPT model one evening at Sadhana Forest, and it was pretty much in agreement with all that we are discussing. So it wouldn't take very long for you to train even an unpaid version of ChatGPT or any other AI model for that matter. It could be the Chinese DeepSeek, or it could be the Google Gemini, or any other AI model.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, Danny.
I just wanted to be clear here, because this has been really mind-blowing. And I'd like to save all the Q&A from today. Is that document that all the responses that we had and the questions we had today, can that be saved, and can you share that with us?
Okay, so this one I won't ask my model. Yeah, absolutely. What I can do, I can send Dr. Rao via email a summary of all the questions asked and all the answers that my model has presented, and share them with you later, Danny.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll post it on the Trello board for Varun's event.
Perfect.
Thank you. And I just opened that Google Doc, and all the questions and answers were right there. That's fantastic. So that's wonderful. And thank you, Dr. Rao, for sharing that. All right. Do we have any other questions? Let's see. Oh, Ray has a question. Okay, Ray.
Hi, Chef Varun. This is very mind-blowing stuff. I'm just wondering if you can ask ChatGPT to reference itself. Can it provide, when it says a thing, is it able to footnote it and give references? I know I use the Google AI overview all the time, and it usually shows the references of the website, so you can double check.
So this is something I can show you. So basically there is a button, as you can see, search, and then there's deep search. So if you click on the search button and ask a question, like whatever question you want to ask, then it will give us the resources. And if you click on the deep research, which because of the limitation of the model that I have, I only get 5 deep search options in a month. So the deep search is able to dig through the science in a lot more detail. And the deep research option, takes much longer to answer questions. So it might take sometimes an hour or 2 hours to answer, depending on the intensity of the question and how much do you want it to research. The search option will take only a few minutes. So, and there are in my version there are unlimited search. So I can ask maybe there might be a few thousands questions of a search option questions based on the search option limits. Like limit to those questions. Sorry, my English, whenever I'm talking to people from the US, I don't know what happens being an Indian. Anyways,
you're doing well.
Yeah, thank you. So so this is how it works. Just click on the search and you will get a lot of references, and on deep research for like a much more detailed answers.
That's
What?
good, but it makes me a little bit nervous that that accuracy, fact checking, referencing is a limited feature. So I'm hoping this is something that will become more commonplace in the future. But you see what I'm saying? Like we have an unlimited ability to ask GPT questions without references. So we don't know where it's getting this information from.
No,
Can you
but
not just ask ChatGPT to provide the reference for the previous question?
yes, sure. Let's do that.
By the way, there's one more question in the chat I need to ask.
Sure. Let's just get the references first. And it's now searching the web, as you can see. And because I've pressed the search button, it is now doing that. Maybe if you want, like, and already so many references have come up. So if we click on the deep research, it might take a few extra minutes, but overall it'll give us a lot more references. So basically,
What if you just did one question rather than the previous questions, which was a lot of them?
Oh yeah, true. Certainly, here are the references supporting the previous discussions, and it's taking a lot of time to answer these questions simply because I've clicked the search button, as you can see. It's taking that much time.
But that
So,
it can do that.
would you like to ask
Kind of
any
answers my
specific
question. That's
question
good.
that I could? Oh, sorry.
It is doing it. I can see that it's. I trust that they will be providing some references, and that's important because ChatGPT is like a algorithm on steroids. It will provide you information. A lot of it's trustworthy, but as we get more and more trusting in it, it could start to shape our approach to data in ways that may not be the most healthy or accurate.
Absolutely.
Like our social media algorithms, they're telling us what it thinks that we like, but it also shapes what we do like, which is where the ethical questions come in. And of course, an ethical discussion could be a whole separate meeting at some point.
Absolutely. That's a whole another topic. You're absolutely correct. But as you can see, like there are so many references it has shared. So it's full of these references. I can try to include these references in the document that I will share later.
There's a
Yeah, that's
question
great.
from Glen Eden Yoga. He's asking, as we move forward with the vegan world and companies jump on the processed plant-based bandwagon, how can we initiate a healthier transition to whole food plant-based eating?
Okay, it's processing the answer. The question, and the answer will be out in just a few seconds. So it's a 6-step approach.
This is such an important and wise question. As companies jump onto the plant-based trend, many are simply replacing animal products with ultra-processed alternatives, not necessarily creating health or sustainability. If we want a truly transformative vegan world, we have to guide the culture toward whole food plant-based at WFPB eating, not just vegan junk food. Here's how we can do it. 1. Education first. We must educate people clearly and simply about the difference between processed plant-based foods and whole food plant-based living. Not all vegan food is created equal. Simple message: whole plants heal, processed foods harm. Celebrate simplicity. We should elevate simple, vibrant foods, fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, seeds, as beautiful, delicious, abundant. Make WFPB aspirational and desirable, not just healthy. Food can be both soul-satisfying and healing. 3. Partner with ethical businesses. Support brands, cafes, restaurants, and farms that promote minimally processed, local, plant-based foods. Highlight them in campaigns, events, and media to build a new food economy that values health and sustainability. 4, advocate policy changes. Push for school meals, hospital meals, public institution menus to favour whole food plant-based meals, not just processed plant-based replacements. Public money should support real nutrition. 5, cultural leadership. Influencers, doctors, chefs, athletes, anyone visible should speak openly about WFPB principles. People follow examples much more than they follow advice. Show the power of healing through whole foods. 6, compassionate messaging. We must invite people, not shame them. Many will start with vegan processed foods, and that's okay. But we gently, consistently offer the pathway to deeper healing through real foods. Every meal is a chance to nourish, not just to substitute. Bottom line, a vegan world is not just a world without animal products. It's a world where we live in harmony with nature, honouring the body, the earth, and all life. And that means embracing the power of whole living foods. Thank you for asking the question that points to the deeper healing we are truly aiming for.
Wow, that's very good. That's beautiful. We have another question, and if you have time, Chef Varun, we have time. Our next guest is not here yet, and so if you have time, we are loving this, as you can tell. If the next person, let's see, Ken, if you'll come on camera, then we can let you see. And then I have a question too. Do you have time first, Chef?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go. Let's go with Ken. Ken, please ask your question.
Okay.
Hello. Okay. I'd like to ask, how should we organize climate healers to implement simultaneously the 7 strategies you mentioned previously, about 20 minutes ago?
Okay. Well, this is a long answer again. Should I ask it?
Sorry about that.
And I see our guest is here, so thank you. Yeah.
So should I read the answer?
Thank you. That's a powerful leadership level question. Here's the clear, direct approach. 1. Create specialized action teams for each strategy. Form 7 focused working groups, each one responsible for one of the 7 core strategies. Culture shift, institutional change, justice frame, media leverage, local models, accessibility, leadership activation. Each team operates semi-independently but aligned under the shared vegan world vision. And 2, establish a coordinating council, a small council that weaves all 7 teams together, ensuring synergy, communication, and shared momentum. The council meets regularly to align timelines, projects, and messaging. 3, prioritize early wins in every strategy. Each team identifies 1 to 2 short-term visible victories they can achieve within 6 months. Campaigns, pilot programs, content pieces, or partnerships. Momentum breeds momentum. 4, train organizers and communicators. Equip every team with training in storytelling, outreach, campaign design, and digital tools. We don't just need good ideas, we need them to spread with skill, clarity, and emotion. 5, use a unified branding and story framework. Everything the teams produce should speak the same core truth. Compassion is non-negotiable. Plant-based living is the path. The future is here. Consistency multiplies impact. 6, build strategic alliances. Each team should actively collaborate with aligned organizations, food justice movements, environmental groups, education reformers, multiplying resources and reach. No one wins alone. 7, create feedback loops and celebrate progress. Hold monthly cross-team gatherings to share victories, refine strategies, lift morale, and solve problems together. Celebrate every step forward, big or small, because movement culture needs energy to sustain. Bottom line, we don't just need action. We don't just need action. We need organized, intelligent, emotionally resonant, relentless action across all fronts simultaneously, like a symphony. Climate Healers already has the heart, the mission, and the global platform. This structure would allow the movement to turn that power into unstoppable momentum. Thank you for asking the question that points to real-world, practical movement building. This is exactly how we shift the world.
Fantastic. I'm in. I'm in.
Sounds great.
So I
Thank you.
think we don't have a lot of time. Should I ask my chat that model to just wind down, or do you want to take another question?
Well, I'm just wondering, Dr. Rao, I don't know Dr. K. I haven't had a chance to meet him yet. Is he here in the room? Do you see him?
I don't see him.
Oh, I see it. Okay, is that you, Dale? I think you're
Yes,
waving.
my name is Rangan. I don't know why it's showing Dell. Yeah, it's me.
It's you. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's let Chef wrap up in a few minutes, just a minute or two, and then we'll go to you.
Yes,
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
See
so much. Thank you.
Perfect. So I'll just ask my model to wind down.
Thank you. Here's what I would like to say directly to everyone at VCOP 21. Thank you for your time, your open hearts, and your powerful questions today. What we are doing here is not ordinary. We are standing at a turning point in history, choosing to step forward with clarity and courage when the world most needs it. The shift to a vegan world will not happen by accident. It will happen because of gatherings like this, because of people like you. People willing to think deeper, act faster, and love harder than the forces of destruction around us. Each one of you is not just a witness to change. You are the builders of it. What you plant today in ideas, conversations, actions will ripple out farther than you can imagine. Thank you for being here. Thank you for carrying this vision into the world. Let's walk this path together with fire in our hearts, compassion in our actions, and faith in the future we are creating. The vegan world is not a dream. It is a decision, and we are deciding now. Thank you. Let's keep moving forward.
Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
The pleasure's all mine.
Thank you, Varun. I would love to have that AI on our website, answering questions for us.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you, Dr. Al. And thank you, Dr. V. Rangan. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I've been there watching the shows, and the chat GPT thing that I saw was just mind blowing. I can't even believe that it can do so many things for us, answer such complicated questions and such with clear answers. Been an eye opener, I would say. It's been fantastic.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I'm so glad you got to see that. All right, so I'm going to. Do you have slides you want to share or no?
Yes, I do have some. I'll be speaking as well as I'll be sharing some slides as I go along.
Either way is whatever you'd like. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce you, and then you do the slides. Is that good?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rebecca Allen, your Climate Healers MC for the VCOP 21 Vegan Convergence of the People, making big change happen. And I'm honored to introduce to you someone who is making physical changes to make things happen. Dr. V. Rangan is a vegan wireless specialist, musician, creator of the world's first synthetic percussion instruments. Now that is making change happen. Isn't that wonderful? No, in a vegan world, animals do not have to suffer for music, which we love. He is the founder of Karunya Musicals that manufactures and markets synthetic Indian percussion instruments, such as, I was going to just skip over some of the pronunciations, mridangam and tabla, the kol.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tolki, okay, and the madao. So I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but I'm so pleased to hear from you. He's the first in the world to do this thing, and we want this idea to spread, the non-use of animals. This is very exciting. Welcome, Dr. Rangan, Vegan Indian Percussion Instruments. Take it away.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, and it's really truly an honor, a pleasure, and simply a learning experience to be here, learn from what the experts have to say, and being a kind of a student really makes me learn a lot of things. And I also thank Dr. Sailesh Rao, who visited us recently, and I really got inspired by the kind of work he's doing, very fundamental work in the climate shift process. And he was kind enough to visit us, and we had a very good time together. And this is a follow-up of that. Sort of, he asked me to join this event, and I'm so happy to be here today, sharing the work that I've been doing. So primarily, it concerns a smaller a domain of the vegan world, where particularly in the context of Indian music, the instruments you mentioned different instruments. I would just pronounce them: the mridangam or mridanga, the tabla, which is of course very popular worldwide, and we have khol, which is also sometimes called as the mridanga. We have dholak. We have dholki, we have another native instrument called madale, and these are the different musical instruments. Now, so I turned vegan in 2010, sort of on my own. I was born in a vegetarian family, and I was always been very compassionate, and I felt extremely bad about the way world treats them. So around 2010, when I used to go for a walk, I used to see cows walking with heavy udders, with a lot of pain in their eyes. And I was not a vegan then, so I felt that there is something wrong here. Something is going on. And when I probed into what's happening in the dairy industry, it was a horrific story that unfolded. So it was a moment of waiting for me to take a call, and I changed immediately once I knew how the dairy industry works, and I started. I became vegan almost instantly. So me and my wife, we became vegan. We set a good date, our wedding anniversary day, to go vegan, and it's been about 25. About 15, 16 years now since we turned vegan. And at that time, I started looking at what are the things that are non-vegan that I'm still using. And then this one struck me hard, the percussion instruments of the Indian origin. So I'm a vocalist, the South Indian music. And this uses an instrument called the mridangam. And I knew that the mridangam is made of skins of animals. So especially goat and cow. So that was the one which poked me to investigate further. I'm audible? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So so that's the time I started looking at these instruments in a hard way and see what I can do. So this is how my journey started. So I started exploring if I can make these instruments vegan by going for synthetic materials, and even try to avoid cutting of trees if I could, use alternative materials. And I just see if I can share the screen here. What do you do to share a screen?
There should be a green button on your Zoom window saying share.
Right. Yes, it's there. Yeah, it's there. Okay, fine. So and how do we select I'm not very.
You can select a window that is your presentation, or you
Is
can
it the
select your whole desktop.
Okay, fine. So, okay, all right. I think I'll be able to manage here.
Yeah.
So is my screen visible now?
Yeah, you see it.
Okay, so that's wonderful. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about the state-of-the-art synthetic Indian percussion instruments, which are, of course, vegan. So I'm a MSc in physics and a PhD, vocalist and musicologist, founder, more importantly, a vegan. And I am the founder of Karnya Musicals, Bangalore. We manufacture cruelty-free and eco-friendly synthetic mridangams and other percussion instruments. By
Can
the
you
way,
make it full screen?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Just a second. Oh, maybe it's full screen.
There should be a slide. Slideshow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Starting from first slide, I guess.
You want me to make a slideshow like thing?
Right. When you do slideshow, it'll just show the first slide, and then you can hit the down arrow. It'll go to the next one.
Is it becoming full screen now? No.
No. So
You can press F5 on your keyboard or just go to slideshow again and press the first button.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I don't see the slides. Okay, I can just scroll down. Okay, fine. Is that all set now?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, fine. So this is the page of the introduction I was talking. Traditional instrument, skin instrument is there. Of course, apart from that, this next slide, shows that they are not use a lot of wood leading to station, require the slaughter of up to 3 animals per instrument. And there are, of course, other limitations, heavy, difficult to carry, temperature sensitive. I'm talking about the traditional instruments, extremely water sensitive, need frequent replacement, repairs, are not remunerative to the local artists. That's another part. So social angle. So yeah, so contrary to this, the new line of synthetic percussion instruments, they are of course very lightweight. You can see here, it's just very lightweight and easily lifted, whereas a wooden tabla would be several kgs, maybe even 10 kgs weight. So it's not temperature sensitive, it's not sensitive to water, absolutely no maintenance. How do I say this? Because you've been in the field for now more than 8 years and almost virtually maintenance free. Easy to manufacture and scalable easily. So we can expand the manufacturability. And another specialty is, apart from the fact that they don't need maintenance, they have a wide tuning range. So instead of having 4 instruments, you can have just 1 instrument, for example, to get cater to all the different keys that are used in our music. Now, one big question that pops up probably in everyone's mind is, what is so special about these Indian drums that I'm talking about? Western drums have been there for decades now. And so what is so difficult or special about this? It's a very valid question. Now, the problem with these Indian instruments like the mridangam, tabla, khol, dholki, pakawaj, many of those, is that they have a what is known as a black spot, which is called as we call it karane loading. So here I show you the actual sample. So this is the tabla head. So you can see a black portion here. So this is the issue. So the Indian instruments have this loading, circularly symmetric loading at the center, which makes the tone of these instruments very special. So in fact, what happens is, to be a little more technical, if I could say that, these loadings make the tone of the drum from inharmonic to harmonic. So all the overtones become harmonic, and that is why they produce this beautiful tone, which you can just see the sample here. I'm going to play, of course. So without that, it won't be sounding that way at all. So this is the crux of the whole problem. So in the case of the traditional skin-based wooden and skin instruments, what they do is they use an animal skin and apply layers of, you may be surprised to know this, iron oxide powder mixed with rice, boiled rice, and then apply it in layers, producing that black spot. So that is a very temporary application because it's just an adhesive kind of thing. And over a period of time, few months, it actually starts chipping off and withering away. Whereas first thing is that such a application will not work on these synthetic skins. These are polyester films. They won't stick to this and form a bond. So one of the main aspects of this research was to see what material I can use for this black spot, which is here. So the initial part of the research was to find out if there is a material. I didn't even know. I'm not even a percussionist. Just that the burning desire to avoid animal skins was the only driving factor. And then so I started working. I got some samples of the synthetic material from the US, and I started working on this black spot. And it was a very random thing. I had no clue what will work, how it will work. So tried different materials, tried hundreds of material, and just miserably failed. So burned a lot of midnight oil, but there was absolutely no success. And it was a very disappointing phase for me because everything that I tried kept on failing. So after about 11 months of this kind of uncertainty, I went to market and found some material like a paste-like thing, black paste. And then I got it home, and then I applied it. And then, that was a turning point. So that material started working beautifully. Although, of course, I had a lot of difficulty in applying it, using it. But essentially, that was the kind of eureka moment where I found that there is an alternative material which can produce the same kind of very resonant tone, stick to the material, and most importantly, it forms a permanent bond as against, adhesive type of thing that I mentioned before. And then it is absolutely safe. It's completely safe. We can even swallow it after it gets cured, nothing, no harm caused. So that kind of material, probably destiny had it in reserve for me. So I found that material, and then I started applying that, and then worked on improving that process as further to make the actual instrument that was functional and that could sustain all the playing loads and all that. So this is the key point in my discovery, where I found that this material does exist, and it can give the same tone as or maybe better tone than a traditional application, or the black paste application. So this I just mentioned, plain drum head produces inharmonic overtones. So this black thing is called loading. Loaded drum heads produce harmonic overtones. Thus, the black spot is called karane, the black circular patch, holds a key for melodic tones of mridangam, tabla, etc. So that is the central premise of all these Indian percussion instruments. So if we can find a proper way of loading it and the proper mass, proper distribution, and with proper symmetry, circular symmetry, you should be able to get that kind of tone that the instruments produce. So this gives an overview of, so from the time we made the mridangam, then the tabla, so we started, it's all completely R&D, research, all carried out at my personal expense in my personal premises. There was no funding, nothing. So it was all driven by my passion to create such alternatives. So this gives an idea about the product portfolio of Carnia musicals. So we have the mridangam, which is having 3 variants. This is for the please understand that this is in the context of the Indian classical music, Indian music in general. So we have the instrument which is suitable for male voice, female voice, and we also have a small sized instrument for children. So oftentimes, the children start learning at a young age, and that requirement also needed to be catered to. So there is this small mridangam also we created. All these are in market now. And then the tabla, we have different pitches, mid octave, top octave, and 4 to 5 different pitches. So this is the tabla. This is the right side of the tabla. It already showed you. So that is the tabla. So for some of you who are not known what it is. And we have this another instrument called whole. I think a lot of you might have heard of this Hare Krishna movement all across the world. So they use this instrument, which is traditionally made of cow skin and clay. So we created them completely in the vegan version with indestructible drum heads and with fiberglass. Our basic building material body of the instrument is the fiberglass. So we have this, again, we have created variants in this to cater to different needs. So we have the standard sized core. We call it as Krish core, a thinner version, which is easy to transport. We also have a core, which is just small, like 18-inch for kids. We have another instrument called Dholak. This is a very general instrument. This doesn't have a black spot, but we still make it with our technology. And then we have this Dholki, which also has a black spot, and it's a very high-pitched instrument used in certain situations. And we have another instrument called Maddale. So there is a particular form of dance drama in the state of Karnataka, where I live. So this has a dance drama format called Yakshagana. And this Maddale is an inevitable percussion instrument. And we created the two types that are required for this particular dance form. And we also have some custom products depending on what the customers want. So we have double-side tablas, different octaves, mridangam tabla hybrids, portable. This is something which worked recently and we have been very successful. So these are going to become another very star vegan percussion instrument in Karunya Musical's arsenal. So coming again to a little bit more about the fiberglass. So we use fiberglass shell instead of wood. So I didn't want to use wood right from the outset. Started this project. So and this fiberglass shell had to have a low coefficient of thermal expansion. It had to expand only little or contract with little variations in temperature. That was something that I worked for about 2 years to get that particular property. And the skin, the synthetic skin also has multiple layers in it. It's not just one layer. So we use polyester film for vibrating membranes, synthetic rubber. So that is the key part which I discovered. That's that black material, which was like a paste type, which I mentioned, is actually a form of rubber which cures upon exposure to moisture, air. And we have, I also devised a very unique tuning system, which is very unique, probably not used much in any other drums. So metal clamps for tensioning and tuning. And all this are hard trained. This is more like technical. So technical information about this instrument. Now, here is the picture of the instrument. You can see that this is the drum head. It has two parts. This is the mridangam. It's a very, very important instrument in classical music, Carnatic classical music of South India. So it has got two sides. One is a treble side, high pitch side, and there is a bass side. This is a low pitch side. This is a fiberglass body, and you can see the tuning screws, and this is a protective ring. So this is the top layer. You can see the black spot here, and the left side is not visible, but you have something similar to what you have in the right side. So I will play a clip of this. So hopefully you should be able to see it.
Dr. Rangan, the audio setting, it's not letting us hear it. So if you go in Zoom, you see an audio. And the audio, there is the settings, audio settings. If you click on that, it'll open up a window. And if you go to the bottom, there should be original sound for musicians.
What is original?
Sound for musicians.
I see select speakers, headphones, Dell.
No. On the audio.
Audio settings?
Yeah, on the audio settings. There should be at the bottom, original sound for musicians. It probably has, it's doing noise removal.
Oh, is it noisy there?
No, it's not. You're not hearing it at all.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. So what did you say, Dr. Shailesh? There's audio.
Right?
Yeah. And
In
then?
the audio, if we go down, scroll down, there should
Right.
be a setting for original sound for musicians, recommended for studio environments.
I just see.
Or live performance audio. There's the one below that. That's a beta, but if you click on that.
Play sound and muting, press sound, mute. Correct. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So is that the one? I clicked that.
Right. And let's see if this now we can hear it.
Oh, wonderful.
No.
Audible now? Dr. Rao?
We are hearing it sometimes, but then it disappears. So
No,
anyway.
I just play it continuously. Let's see.
We hear it and then it fades out. So I suspect Zoom is doing something to.
Maybe I think my feed. Just see now.
Or maybe you're not sharing computer screen.
Is it
I mean,
better now?
computer sound. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We get an idea.
I would love to be able to hear the instruments.
If he wants to restart and share sound and go to this page.
Hello.
Yeah, one way to do that is there should be a share computer sound. When you did the sharing.
Okay, 1 second. Share, yeah, correct. Share. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Advanced sharing options.
No, if you have to unshare. So stop the sharing.
Stop the sharing where? In the
Stop the sharing of your computer screen on Zoom. There should be like a button on top of Zoom saying stop sharing. Or we can stop sharing for you.
Stop share, is that?
There you go.
Yeah, you stop sharing. Now, if you start sharing again, and when you start sharing, when you click on the share button, like you did before, there should be on the right side, share sound.
Yeah, here it is again.
So you click on the window and then
Share. Okay.
And then share sound on the right side under options.
So I think I may not get it right. So I'll try it playing again. Let's see it. Is it audible now? Was it audible?
We start hearing it and then it disappears. I don't know. Anyway.
Hello?
We hear it for a little while and then it fades out.
Everything I've set. Live performance audio.
Yeah.
It's still not audible? Hello?
Yeah, it's
stopped.
Yeah, it stopped. It's okay.
No, I just stopped it.
I'm sorry, it's not working.
Still working?
Yeah, we tried original sound for musicians, Jamin. So anyway.
1 minute. Let me see if I can. Okay, I think I'll proceed with the presentation because it's lose time otherwise. So yeah. So this was about the mridangam. Then we have this tabla, which is again different pitches. So this is the right side, this is the left side. This is called the dayan, this is called the bayan. And we have double set tablas as well. So here is the
Dr. Rangan, can you make it full screen again?
Hello?
Can you make it full screen again? The slideshow.
1 second, yeah. Slideshow.
Start from current slide.
Where's the full screen option?
Under slideshow. Or F5, right?
Yeah, F5 was better. Yeah, okay. Okay. So we are here. So we were here. I'll play. So this is okay. So we just saw the tabla. So this is the right side, this is the left side, and we have the black spot as usual. And this is a bass side, and this is a treble side. Okay. So moving further, so we have this another instrument, which is the one of the main instruments for the Hare Krishna, movement. So this is called the khol, K-H-O-L, khol, and sometimes also called the mridang. So it's again a tunable instrument. So traditionally, this is made of clay, which frequently breaks. And even the right side and left side have temporary applications to provide the loading. So they also wither away in a very short time. So whereas this is an extremely robust one, lasts for years without any maintenance. And the black spot is put inside so that you don't actually see it very visibly from outside. So it's very, very rugged instrument, very rugged. So, and here is a sound sample. So that's the coal, which is used very widely in different parts of the world, including even USSR, Russia. So very popular instrument. And again, as I mentioned, we created variants of the same instrument, basically the same instrument, but different form factors. These are a regular standard size. We created a sleek version, which we called as Krish Coal, just to make it more travel friendly, a little more rugged, and easy to transport and store. And this is a mini version for babies, small kids who want to learn the instruments. So 3 versions we created. Traditionally, these other versions are not available. So we have created them to cater to a wider audience. So our users, I would say. So this is another instrument which is similar to the, this is the dolak. I think, yeah. So this is another instrument which is similar to the mridangam. This is the Yakshagana Madhyale that I talked about.
Ah, yes, it is beautiful. Now we can't
Hello?
hear it.
You can hear now?
No, we cannot hear it, but it is beautiful to see it being played, and it's beautifully designed.
It's unfortunate that you're not able to see it. Let me see if I can do something, just play it from a direct audio. Let me see if that works.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Dr. Rangan, I see some videos on your YouTube channel as well.
Right. Yes, correct. So
Can
some
we
of them
play
are
that?
already there.
Can we play that?
I think I have it another place. Let me see if this works for, it works here.
Amit, can you play it for him?
Is it audible now?
It comes and goes. Amit, can you set it
Yeah.
up and then play it for them?
I could do that. Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, so Dr. Rangan, Amit is going to.
Yeah. Can you stop sharing?
Yeah, I just.
If that's
All
okay.
right. I came to your YouTube channel and I could see.
Oh, okay,
So,
fine. Yeah.
yeah.
Wonderful.
This is another. Is it audible now?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So there is also this mridangam. Can you play that?
Yeah. I'll play that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And tabla is also there. If time permits, you can play them as well. This is the mridangam, the other slide which here.
Yeah. I see some of your videos of how
Yeah,
you
you
make.
can play that as well.
Can I play
Yes.
that, please? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So this is our workplace. So different instruments are stacked. Some production work is going on. That's our worker who has helped me with assembly. That was during the COVID time, so he had a mask. Some place where we stored more shells. They are the empty shells without the drum heads in place.
Yeah. I see another one over here.
Yeah, you can play the tabla as well, maybe.
Okay. Sorry for the ad.
I am Dr. Rangan, creator of the Sri Mridanga. Name suggests this instrument is a synthetic rhythm Indian instrument which is equivalent to the South Indian traditional mridanga made of animal skins. The Sri Mridangam does not use any animal skins and it is completely synthetic, including the drum heads. In this video, I am going to explain the Sri Mridangam and its component parts briefly. We can skip this. The Sri Mridangam comes in two sizes. More,
okay.
Just for more use.
Let's go to one that has some.
And the left can be used to produce the bass pitch.
Sorry, did you say something?
A video on the tabla, which that also you couldn't hear properly, right? So,
yeah. Is it the one on the right or no?
1 second. It's not showing up there.
This one, Sai Tejas.
You can play this. This is a ensemble with the tabla.
Okay, yeah. I see Ghatakam as well.
Yes, you see the Ghatakam. The last one is tabla. If there is time, you can play that.
Yeah.
Ads.
Ads. I'm so sorry for that.
Wow. I'm so glad we got to hear that. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Dr. Rangan.
Yeah, thank you so much for enabling that so people could just not only see but listen to the authentic sounds of these instruments. So how much time do we have?
Well, we have about 10 minutes, and so would you like to take some questions? I see some questions coming up, or do you have?
Yes.
Oh, right, you're ready
I
for
think
questions?
yeah, I will have some concluding remarks, but I think I can take some questions.
Okay, so we'll have questions and give you time for concluding remarks. Everyone, please put your questions in the chat or raise your hand as people are doing now. I believe, Tammy, you were first, so if you will come on screen, if all of you will come on screen if you have a question, then we can put you on here.
Hi, Tammy. Hi. Nice
Hello.
seeing you.
Hello.
Nice seeing you again.
Oh, good to see you again. Well, thank you so much for your presentation. It's really hard to express the power of what you did through a presentation. And I just really want to thank you for that, for turning these classical musical instruments into a vegan instrument. I mean, and they're offered around the world. Is that correct? Can people buy them around the world, or are they mostly distributed from just within India?
Absolutely, all over the world. So we've been exporting along with the local supplies to almost about 35 countries now, including, of course, US, UK, Germany, France, Australia, Sri Lanka. Almost you name any country, we have Switzerland, European countries, Sweden, Norway, a lot of countries. And of course, US is the dominant consumer base. In US, we have the largest customers.
Thank you so much. Wow,
thank you. Really important. That's making a big change happen to veganize drums. Thank you.
The good thing is we are able to reach across the oceans without much of a problem. We have partners who do the exports for us. So of course we had to do all the basic work, but they take care of the complete logistics of shipping it across the seas and delivering it to the customer's doors. So it's been a very good service from them. So I must definitely acknowledge their role also in this, the couriers particularly, the ones we use.
Great, great. So we have a question from Danny, then we have one from the chat our question from a chat. Go ahead, Danny.
Thank you. I just wanted to know in US, will we find the US distributors on the YouTube site, or is there another website where we could find them and then order them from?
So we don't have a distributor yet in the US. These are shipped directly from our website, www.musicals.com. All that you have to do is place an order, and rest of it will be taken care of as well. The instrument will reach you in about a week's time, max.
Okay, and is there do you have any idea in US dollars what, say?
Yeah, it's around $300 US, 300 plus.
Okay.
Yeah, about including the shipment, the total. Our inclusive price is around slightly over $300. They're very price competitive. Even within India, it turned out to be their very price competitive, and we haven't been really wanting to increase the price just like that. We want this instrument to reach everyone, so we priced it with the fair price, I would say. So we
It
just
looks
get
so
back
like
for
so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, Gabrielle.
Yes, this is a question in the chat. How much time did it take to fully develop each of these instruments? How many minutes or hours does it take to physically produce each of these instruments? And are they mostly made by hand or machine? And also, how long do they last? It's quite a few questions.
Wonderful questions. Okay. So it took about 6 years to make the first instrument, that is a mridangam, which you saw the video there. So a double-sided barrel-shaped drum. So that was the first instrument, which is also happened to be the most difficult instrument to crack. It was very difficult to make that because it is very complicated. And in fact, mridangam in our Indian culture, we call it the king of percussion. It's a king of percussion. So I started, contrary to probably what some else would have done, I started with the most complex instrument because I wanted it for myself. Probably that was the driving factor. And the R&D part took about 6 years. And for the next instruments to come, it was in quicker succession. It took about one and a half years. And typically it takes about, if I want to develop a similar instrument with some broadly similar properties, it takes about 8 months to 10 months and sometimes even lesser time to make a new instrument. So when I make a variant of an instrument, it doesn't take that long. It takes about 6 to 8 months, maybe even less. And second thing is, sorry, I forgot the sequence of questions. So can you come again?
Well, this questioner wants to know how long did they last, these instruments?
Yeah, so they last for many decades, I would say, because, the fiberglass shell is very rugged. And it should last for decades, as without any problem. And the drum heads, that is something that I want to highlight. The drum heads, this black spot, usually lasts for about 5 years, whereas in the traditional skin instrument, it lasts for only a couple of months. So that's the kind of longevity these instruments have. So another 2 questions you asked. Can you repeat them?
Then someone wants to know how many of your clients are vegan and do you know if other instruments can be veganized?
Yeah, so not all customers are vegan because, these instruments have brought in a certain amount of convenience and value for money for many people. So we are not actually kind of saying that buy it because it's vegan. We are saying that we buy it because it is very functional and value for your money. And indirectly, we drive the message of veganism. When we interact with the customers, we say, some people ask why we did that, and then we explain to them. And one thing about this musicians community is they are a bit closed-minded. They're not very open. So it's difficult to pitch in the idea that it's vegan and so go for it. They will go for it because it's convenient, offers them value, convenience, travel friendly. But some artists are vegan. For example, a lot of student community, they are vegan and they usually buy our tablas. So, but it is not necessarily that they want to use a vegan instrument, but they want to use an instrument which gives them a lot of value, and the tonal quality, maintenance-free aspects, weatherproof, tunability, scale. So it actually overscores the traditional instruments in so many ways. So that's where we are able to pitch in and break into a very conservative market. And Indian music is steeped in devotion and tradition. So anything you do that is not traditional is viewed with a lot of cynicism. So they will say, without even seeing the instrument, it won't work. That kind of attitude, closed mind. But it is changing now. I'm happy to say that attitude is changing now. Then it's slowly the transformation is happening. And you asked about also a question at how long it takes to make an instrument. I think that question. So typically we don't make one instrument at a time. So we make, for example, all the shells. One of the videos you must have seen, we have put all the shells together. The shell means the body of the instrument, which is a fiberglass body. So they all come together in one batch, and then we make the drum head separately. We store it. So we then quickly assemble it. So we can do more than one instrument per day, if you ask me, and we can scale it up to even 5, 6, or even 10 instruments. If there's a demand, we can always scale it up. So usually you can ballpark say one instrument, 2 instruments per day.
Excellent. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I see Dr. Rouse here, and we're almost. Are you okay, Gabrielle?
Yeah. There was another question, but you've answered it in your last
Okay.
answer. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my question had to do with the instrument that the Hare Krishna people use. Is it coal? Coal? Is that it?
Coal. Yes, correct.
Is that also made from cow skin normally?
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, so there's a huge dilemma there because these people, proponents of Krishna Bhakti, they're using a cow skin instrument. So some of these things, I wonder how it is even possible that they're so insensitive.
Right.
But that's the way the world is. So
Wow.
yeah, it's
Okay.
not made of cow skin. Yeah, to be
So
very
has there been any take up from them on your instruments?
See, what we have done is we have done a kind of a strategy there. So what we have done is we have appointed a franchisee to who belong to that community. So the Hare Krishna community, and they do the marketing, and they're our franchise. I mean, they get the shells themselves, they do themselves, but the head we supply. So with that kind of an approach, we're able to reach a much wider audience. And again, they have in the instruments shipped to many countries all across the world. Yeah, so they must have sold about 3,000 to 4,000 instruments the last couple of years.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next guest is here, but I want you to have time to wrap up. And I see Alison has a question. Is that okay with you, Rachel? If we all right, thank you. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask quickly, what's the potential here? What are some of the other instruments that can be veganized?
So the thing is, we are veganizing one instrument after the other. So we have done about close to 10 instruments now. So some instruments are very difficult to veganize at this point of time. For example, there's an instrument called chende. There's an instrument called dole. So these are difficult to do at the moment. I don't have the technology to do that. But accepting some of those instruments, we can still do a lot more. And I hope, because in my lifetime, I will not be able to finish all that. So at least I want to set a way, a method where which, eventually we are going to, transfer this knowledge to responsible people. And so the same ideas can be used to create different instruments. It's basically the idea of creating a loaded membrane with a certain Turing system. These are the primary principles with which you have built this, and they can be used to build many more instruments. I don't think there is any limit whatsoever on what we can do, but there are some instruments which are very hard to do. So that I must admit. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Okay, your closing remarks, and then we'll go to our next speaker.
Sure. So my closing remarks would be mainly the observation that, these Indian instruments are used in classical performances, classical music, which you call Carnatic and Hindustani music. There are two systems of music. And here the theme of our, our composition, musical composition is compassion. So every single Carnatic music composition, I'm a performer of the classical music, vocal music. So I'm not a percussionist, by the way. It's a bit of an irony because I am a vocalist and I still laid my hand into the percussion instruments. But that apart, so this music system is it's the cornerstone or the founding aspect of this music is compassion. And we seek compassion from the Lord, from the God, Goddess, whomsoever we call it as the ultimate, benevolent entity. So, but our instruments are made of cruelty. Most of this percussion, most of the Indian percussions are derived from animal skins, cow skin, goat skin, even camel skin, and monitor lizard skin, which is a species, is an endangered species. And it's sad to know that the musician community is not caring enough. I wouldn't say they don't care at all. They're not caring enough. And so at least, through these instruments, we are trying to bring awareness. When somebody sees this mridangam or tabla, they ask, why did you do it? Then they will probe and see that there is a reasoning, and we have also put it in different places. Why I have personally done this, why it has been my mission to veganize this. And they get the message, and it percolates slowly, but that at least the seeds of that thought will be, there whenever they play the instrument. So that way, it's in a small way helping the cause of veganism, and directly preventing a cow to be killed. For example, when somebody buys this instrument, they're definitely prevented a slaughter of a cow or a goat. And secondly, this message of compassionate living slowly spreads across. And so I think it's a dual purpose. And so change is happening. I'm happy to note that the response, I should say, is really overwhelming for these products, especially because we continuously innovate. And the reason why have we also been successful is because I'm personally a very R&D type of person. And I do a lot of, keep working on improving the products. And, I think about it all the time. And all that because I wanted to save an animal, being slaughtered. So that is the one which drives me into what I'm doing today. So the compassion, the passion to prevent animal slaughter, the main driving force. So these are my concluding remarks.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope many people get to see it. It's very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for, inviting me and be able to present my work. So it's a very niche area where there are not many players at all. So by the way, these are all first in the world. So nobody has done this. So that way I've been fortunate to be able to have been done this and contribute in my particular specific way to the vegan movement. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You're very welcome. Wow. I want to hear more. I want to hear more music. Okay. Thank you for those of you who are just now joining us at the VCOP, Vegan Convergence of the Peoples, number 21. Welcome to VCOP 21. I'm Rebecca Allen, I think I'll just start over because we can edit this. Welcome to VCOP 21, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is the 21st Vegan Convergence of the People. I am your climate healer MC, Rebecca Allen, and I am pleased to introduce to you our next speaker, Rachael Brown. For fork's sake, 10 days to make big change happen. Rachael Brown is certified in plant-based nutrition and food sustainability from the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies at Cornell. Rachael is a licensed practitioner of massage and pain neutralization techniques and a certified yoga and Pilates instructor and a spiritual director. As an adjunct professor in nutrition and wellness, we are grateful that she is here today for fork's sake, 10 days to make big change happen. Please welcome Rachael Brown. Hello, Rachael. Thank you for being here.
Hi, and thank you so much, Rebecca. So thank you to Dr. Rangan too. The vegan drums were incredible. And it makes me think just about what Dr. Rao talked about at the opening comments yesterday about the 4 different types of movement in bringing veganism to the world, and this idea of hospice, helping older ways of being, older whether it be instruments or commodities or whatever, transition to new sustainable ways of being. And that's exactly what Dr. Rangan was doing. So thank you for your work. I am here to talk about how to make big change happen and in a short amount of time. And I want to say that I love the work of Dr. Rao and of climate healers. And maybe like me, you have people in your life who are not aware of this work that is happening. Maybe like me, you have people who hear the word vegan and it's almost like a swear word. They have a whole set of ideas that come with that word. And they don't want to think about it. Or maybe like me, you have people, family members or friends who really don't know the latest science, haven't heard this information that it's okay to eat almonds, because while they use some water, they don't use as much water as the animal products that our friends and family members are eating. So I want to talk about enacting, how do we enact some big change? And in a short amount of time, I really believe, I've watched hundreds of people do this, that if you have 10 days, you can make big change. And for people who aren't open to thinking about saving the animals, or maybe they think they just need to ride their bike or walk instead of drive their car, and that will solve the climate problem, I think another way in is to talk to people about health. That is how we came to making changes in our diet. And like me, you probably have some friends or family members who are dealing with health issues. Sadly, this is a very normal thing to be dealing, especially in our country, with heart disease of any kind. So elevated blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, around the world, elevated blood sugar and diabetes. So we're talking about people who have issues all across the board with health. And we know now that by changing our diets, we can change our health. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit as to how I got here. And then I'm going to walk you through how in just 10 days, you can make this change. You can make this change with other people you know and love, or invite others to join you on this change. So 15 years ago, my nephew was 5 years old and he was diagnosed with cancer. And at this time, we thought we were eating a relatively healthy diet. My kids were 6 and 8, and we ate fruits and vegetables with every meal, but we also were eating grass-fed beef at the time. We thought that was a healthy option. Not very often because it was very expensive, but we were still eating some animal products. My nephew's mother had taught me how to pull mozzarella cheese, how to make our own cheese the summer before. So we thought we were, eating healthily. And when my nephew was diagnosed with cancer, his mom was in nursing school, and she had a professor who asked her if she'd looked at the role of nutrition in cancer. And this professor suggested she read The China Study by T. Colin Campbell and watch the Forks Over Knives documentary. And my sister-in-law, overnight, after watching that documentary, reading that book, changed their diet to a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. They even did Gerson therapy juicing intensely in the beginning. And she called me and said, you really need to look into this. And so I did. I read the China Study and asked my husband if he wanted to watch Forks Over Knives documentary with me. And my initial reaction was one of pretty intense anger, honestly. I was so frustrated that throughout my life, even though I had high cholesterol and couldn't seem to get it to resolve, no doctor had ever told me, other than cutting back on the cheese and eating a few less eggs, that really what was affecting this was not just my genes, but what was on the end of my fork. Nobody had suggested that it was a long-term solution to change what I was eating. So after reading this book and watching Forks Over Knives, we asked, should we try this? Should we give this a try? And so we did. We got our blood work done, and we went back in. I couldn't get back in 10 days. I got back in at day 17. And when I met with my doctor, he said, I don't know what you did, but whatever you did, keep doing it, because your cholesterol has dropped 50 points in 17 days. And I couldn't do that with medication. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So at the time, this was both good news and bad news. It was wonderful news that I didn't need to be on medication, which I'd never gone on, because I'd watched my dad be on cholesterol medication my entire life, and he would have side effects like losing his taste or some other odd side effect. And I never wanted to do that. I didn't want to support pharmaceuticals in that way. I didn't believe that the answer was taking a pill. And so that's what started us on this journey of, how do we do this? How do we eat this way when nobody we knew outside of my sister-in-law and her family, who were 2 states away, were eating this way? 15 years ago, there wasn't as much on the internet. Whole food, plant-based, no oil was not something you saw a lot. you could find information on vegan things, but there wasn't as much out there as there is now. So we started, and we really made, I would say, almost every mistake in the book. And so over the next 10 years, we continued to refine how we were doing this, and really felt like we got it down. And once COVID hit, I couldn't do the work that I had been doing. I decided to go to the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies and get my plant-based nutrition certificate. And I took their food and sustainability course as well and got a certificate in that. And they were really mind-blowing. I would say I'd read a lot of books, and so there wasn't a ton of new information for me in the plant-based nutrition certificate, but the food and sustainability certificate really opened my eyes to things I hadn't seen. And it talked about the food system around the world. I knew we had enough food in the world, but why weren't people who needed food getting it? It talked about how commodities work and how subsidies work and how our food is distributed and used and weaponized, and what can we do about it? So when COVID hit and I wanted to reach others, I wanted to share this information that I had learned and that had affected our family so profoundly. I decided to write a book, and I really took everything we learned in that 10 years and tried to hone it down into a very simple read, because I kept trying to give people the China study. I don't know if you also have had this experience where you want to share this information. It was almost like trying to preach to people. We wanted people to know this so badly. But we also wanted to have friends, and we realized that we needed to go about it in a way that was sustainable. And so I would try to give people the China study, and oftentimes they would hand it back to me because it is a bit of a scientific read. And so I set out to write a book that was very short and sweet and palatable, pun intended. So the audiobook is just under 4 hours. You can listen to this on a plane ride, or you can listen to it on 4 walks. It's a really quick, short, why do we need to do this? And then how do we go about doing this? So as we're talking about enacting big change, I have seen people in 10 days have the same experience that I have had, where I've spoken at libraries and senior centers and had people in their 80s email me and say, I listened to you speak a couple months ago. My husband and I were in our 80s and we're now off almost all our medication. I had to put a medical disclaimer at the beginning of the book saying that you should check with your doctor if you're on medication, because in as little as 24 to 48 hours, you can have big changes happening in your body. You might need to back off your blood pressure medication. You might need to lower your blood sugar medication. Big things are taking place in your bodies. Our bodies are like the earth, always trying to heal themselves. We just need to get out of the way and stop hurting ourselves long enough for our bodies and our planet to start healing themselves. So the big changes that can occur, not only is your blood pressure going to change, your cholesterol going to change if it needs to, your blood sugars, all of that. You might lose excess weight. You'll probably have more energy than you've had in years. Most people say that is true for them. You'll probably be sleeping better. All kinds of things that people are usually looking for through other lifestyle changes occur simply by changing what you're putting on your plate. You will also cut back on your grocery costs. You will cut back on the time you're spending cooking and running around to different shops trying to find your meats and cheeses and specialty oils and all those things. So I want to invite you to think about offering to people giving this a change. If you haven't done it for yourself already, or maybe you haven't, so I'll invite you, if you're not already vegan or whole food plant-based, to give this a try. All you need is 10 days. So here's what I go through in the book. And here, I'll just give you like a snapshot of what it really takes. I do suggest getting your blood work as a first thing. And I know that not everybody can do that, and it's not absolutely necessary. But the reason I suggest it is because you have a marker that you can look at the beginning of 10 days. And then when you cut out animal products and oil and see what changes happen, you have something that you can hold on to. Because most of us cannot feel our cholesterol lowering. I certainly did not. Maybe blood pressure, you might feel something, blood sugar, but for the most part, these are things that are occurring and you're not necessarily feeling them in a day out kind of way. So having that blood test before and at the end can serve as kind of a bookmark for giving this a try and seeing if changes are occurring. It can also help you keep on track, knowing that you're going to be taking a test that's going to show if you cheated a little bit, if you had some offending food, this is going to change the numbers. So it's a good way to keep yourself on track if you're just going to try it for 10 days, which I say, don't think about your whole life, just think about trying this for 10 days. The next question I ask people is to really think about, why do you want to try this? So this can be for so many different reasons. Many people are here and eat vegan because they are helping animals. They are wanting to help the planet. And these are all wonderful reasons. Wanting to save your health and prevent disease or reverse disease, which we now know is possible, many diseases, just by changing what we eat. These are all reasons. Also, wanting to save money on groceries is a great reason. Wanting to lose excess weight, not wanting to take a weight loss drug. These are all excellent reasons as well. But I ask people to pause and think, why do you want to do this? And then think about, how have you usually done things in the past? So this can be very helpful because sometimes, when we want to start a new habit, we make a big lofty goal, and then within a few days, it's hard to stick to this habit. But if you think about how you have gone about making changes in the past, this can really help you. Some people are very black and white. I tend to fall into this category. So for me, a 10-day challenge is like, bring it on. I will do this for 10 days. Some other people would rather gain a lot of information and slowly work into something. That's okay too. I just need you to think about how you do it so that you can do this successfully. So for some people, cutting out, eliminating some foods while you're adding in other foods can be more helpful. So just pause for a moment to think about, what is your why? Why are you doing this? And then, how have you done things in the past? This will greatly help you as you undergo this 10-day process. Then I will talk about with people the great clean out is what I call it. And that is really, how do you clean out your food, your kitchen, your home, so that you are removing temptations for the 10 days that you are undergoing this change. We know that it's not good for alcoholics to keep a bottle of wine or a bottle of gin in their home for just that occasion when they're feeling stressed or feeling like having a drink again. In the same way, we want to remove all the offending foods that we don't want to be eating for this 10 days. So I'm talking about all animal products, and that's what's in your fridge, that's what's in your freezer, that's what's in your pantry. I'm also talking about hyper palatable junk food. So we're talking chips and crackers and cookies, basically anything, any food that's in a packaged form that has been made not by people or not by the earth, but by machines in some factory. So you want to just get rid of these things, and you can donate these things or give them to somebody who will eat them. You might, with the information that you're learning, though, start to feel bad about that and think, maybe actually I don't want to be giving this food to people I love, but maybe there's somebody who will gladly eat it and isn't ready to make a change yet, and you can donate it to them. After that, I asked people to make a list of your favorite foods. And this is what we did with our kids who were 6 and 8. And, at first I was concerned, thinking, how are we going to get them to enjoy eating fruits and vegetables all the time, and only fruits and vegetables, nuts, legumes, all of that. So I had them make a list of their favorite foods. And at the time, it was things like enchiladas and pizza and lasagna and meatloaf and burgers. And so we made this list. And I suggest that everybody makes their list of favorite foods. You don't have to think about, are these healthy foods or not? These are just the favorite meals that you enjoy eating. As it turns out, all these foods really can be made in a very healthy vegan way, in a whole food, plant-based, no oil way even. So it's very simple then to take those favorite foods that you love and that you enjoy and that you go for to gather around a table with friends and family, or you go to for comfort. There are ways to make these same foods. So whether it's fettuccine Alfredo, you can go to Google now and type in whole food, plant-based, no oil, vegan recipe for fettuccine Alfredo. You will get thousands of recipes that come up to try. Let's say you miss scallops, you love seafood. You can use trumpet mushrooms. There's ways to cook them that taste like scallops. Nothing is off the table here, you know, from ranch dressing to pizza. You can make all these foods in a very healthy way. Now, the first time you make enchiladas or lasagna, it might not be your favorite recipe. That's okay. Like I said, there's probably thousands when you Google it. And so just pick another one. Look through the ingredients, see what you have, maybe find something that's slightly different. You'll probably find some chefs or people who put out recipes that maybe you enjoy, and you can start looking at their recipes. The McDougalls have thousands of recipes on their website. Center for Nutrition Studies, T. Colin Campbell's organization, has the same. I mean, there are many people out there putting out recipes. Some of them are 8 ingredients or less, and they're very simple, but you'll be able to find a favorite. Just stick with it. So maybe you need to make that enchilada or lasagna or burger 6 different times or 7 different times before you find one you like. But once you find one you like, stick with it. There's a new favorite. It's really not going to be that difficult, I promise. After you found your favorites and you've decided some things you want to make, then I talk about in the book how to shop for these things. It can be confusing at first. People often don't want to eat this way because they'll say to me, well, I don't live near, there's no Whole Foods near me. I can't eat this way. And nothing could be further from the truth. You do not need specialty grocery stores to eat this way for your health. I love registered nutrition. Jeff Novick talks about being able to eat this way if all you have near you is a dollar store. Because when you think about it, when we're eating food that comes from the earth, you can find at a dollar store a grain, usually rice. You can find beans, a bag of beans or a bag of lentils. These things are very inexpensive, and one bag can serve for 5 days of eating for one person. You can also probably find frozen vegetables or canned vegetables, the same with fruit. So you don't need any specialty store to be getting what you're going to need to eat whole food, plant-based, no oil, or vegan. If you just have a normal grocery store near you, you can also shop there. I talk about shopping the perimeter of the grocery store. Avoid those aisles down the middle that have all those tempting foods, those chips and crackers and candy bars and all these things that are designed to hijack our brains. They are created by chemists to send those fireworks, those dopamine fireworks going off in our brain every time we eat them, which keeps us addicted to them. So you want to shop the edges of your grocery store. That's where you're going to find those fresh fruits and vegetables. You're going to find all those whole foods that you want to be eating. Now, they don't all have to be fresh. Like I was saying, frozen foods are just fine as well. In fact, sometimes frozen foods might even be healthier because they've been flash frozen when they're at the peak of their ripeness. They haven't been sitting maybe out and refreshed with water a few times for weeks. So if you obviously have a CSA box that you can sign up for, or a local farmers market, or you can grow fruits and vegetables in your yard, please do that. That is a fantastic way to get healthy foods to you. But don't let the idea that you don't have some specialty vegan store or vegan restaurant near you keep you from eating this way, because in fact, most of the world doesn't have this, and we don't need it. We haven't needed it for millennia. So I talk about why this is hard, because about this time, sometimes people go, okay, I want to make this change, but why is this so hard? And the fact is that change really is hard. And there are some things that are at work against you in making this change. I mentioned the hyperpalatable foods. So the amazing thing is our bodies are healing all the time. And part of that healing process is our taste buds are changing about every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, you have an entirely new set of taste buds. So this is fantastic news for making this change in 10 days, because what that means is as you're starting to eat fruits and vegetables and not eating those, I'm going to use the word crap that Rip Esselstyn calls it, calorie rich and processed food. So that's what he calls crap. And that's mainly those packaged foods. You're taking those out of your diet and you're just eating real food. All of a sudden, food starts to taste really good. I share the story about my son in the book. We were having pita sandwiches, and we would often do this. It would be hummus and, chopped veggies to put in them, put whatever you want in them. Maybe some avocado. And I had red bell peppers, and he was eating this pita sandwich and he was like, what are these peppers? They're so good. Where did you get them? And I was racking my brain thinking, did I get these somewhere different? Did I shop somewhere different this week? And it took me a few minutes to realize, no, actually, these are the same peppers we've been eating. But he had indeed cut out all that sweet, artificially sweet food that he'd been eating. And all of a sudden, a red pepper tasted very, very sweet. Your mind will be blown by fresh fruit, especially fresh peaches or cherries, blueberries. You will be incredibly amazed at how good food tastes once you get the artificial taste out of your system. So you do need to give it, though, those about 2 weeks to let those taste buds reset, because, if you go on vacation or you go somewhere else and you have some other food, you'll find it can be a little tricky to get back to enjoying the taste of real food. Doesn't take long, but you'll have to remind yourself of what's going on, and that can be very helpful. Those artificially sweet, salty, and fatty foods are the pleasure trap that Dr. Goldhammer and Dr. Doug Lisle talk about, and they really do keep us trapped. So the sooner you can get rid of those, and I will say, for most people that I work with, meat is not the hardest thing to stop eating. This was definitely true for me. I didn't miss the taste of meat at all, especially when thinking about how that meat comes to be. But cheese was more difficult. This is because cheese has casomorphines in it. We're designed to want our mother's milk. This causes like opioid kind of receptors to go off in our brain when we eat cheese. The thing is, cows are not our mother. We don't need mother's milk from cows. So like I said, give it a little bit of time and you will break that taste habit that's going on in your mouth and in your brain, and you'll be able to get away from that pleasure trap that your brain and body is seeking. Another thing that can happen during this time period is that people will come to me and say, I'm eating all this food. I'm worried that I'm going to be gaining weight. But people need to understand calorie density. And the fact is that, if you take away, maybe you were having 2 pieces of pepperoni pizza for lunch, that might equal 4 bowls of soup and 2 large plates of salad. Or, a big bowl of rice and beans with all kinds of toppings on it, including avocado and healthy plant fats. So it can seem like you're eating so much, but the fact is that you're eating fiber-rich foods that is filling your stomach, but you might not feel as full. You might need more food in the beginning to help your brain feel that you've reached satiety, but it won't take long. Your body will balance out. It will get used to getting everything it needs from the food that you're eating, which is really the food that your body needs to run efficiently. And you'll feel fantastic in that process. Another reason that this is hard is really just peer pressure. It's hard. As a species, we want to be in community and be in groups. And so it can be difficult to be the only person in the room choosing to eat differently. And sometimes this leads people to fall off track. Sometimes, especially in the beginning, it might be easier to just join in if it's a pizza party at work and have pizza for lunch, or in some way fall off the wagon, as it were. And that's okay. You're human. We're going for progress, not perfection. But something that we have found that can be very helpful, especially as it relates to the tastes that we're looking for in changing our taste buds, is just to simplify our diet for a little while. And so if we especially are traveling and maybe we've continued to eat vegan, but we've had to eat out at restaurants where there's been oil on our food and salt on our food, and we're just used to more palatable foods, more fat and salt in our diet than we usually eat. Sometimes we will do a rice and bean week. And this came about, I talk about in the book, Nathan George, a fantastic individual who started a thing called Hungry for Change. And he started this in churches in England and in the US. And what it was is that you would get a box. It was a small box. And in this box, for 1 week, you would eat out of this box. What came in the box was 1 bag of rice and 1 bag of beans and 1 bag of oats. And the idea was that you would eat like most of the people in the world eat, very simply, with enough calories to be living, but not hyper palatable foods. So they suggested you can drink coffee or black tea. Black tea is what most people around the world drink. You could add, some onion and seasonings and vegetables to your beans when you cook them, knowing that not everybody has that luxury. And then you would just cook up your oats and your rice, and then you would divvy it out for 5 to 7 days. And it came out to about a cup of rice and a half cup of beans per meal. And when we did this, the hope was that you would take the money that you would have spent on other food and that you would donate it to something of your choosing, whether that's unhoused people or providing food for people or to your place of worship or however you wanted to donate the money. But it really was surprising how different it was to just eat a cup of oatmeal in the morning, plain, and rice and beans for lunch and dinner. It was a way of fasting in solidarity with people around the world and a way to really change your thinking about eating. So I suggest this as a way to get back on track. If people have found themselves having a hard time sticking with eating whole plant-based foods, it's a very quick way to reset your taste buds and your thinking, to be very grateful for all the amazing options of food that you have when you just take a little bit of time and eat very simply. There's something like this with the McDougall program. They call it Mary's Mini, where you're splitting your plate, a 50-50 plate. You're having a starch and a vegetable, and you're not introducing a lot of variety, which helps you to really slow down and eat what you're eating and be with what you're eating. And then when you reintroduce variety, your taste buds and your brain will just explode with excitement for very simple things. So it's a great thing to get you back on track. So we talk about other lifestyle changes as well. I love helping people, especially when they're coming at this for their health or maybe looking to lose weight. Many people often think they need to start a rigorous exercise routine at the same time. And I really actually love working with people who, for whatever reason, can't start exercising immediately, because when they just change what they're eating, they can see that actually the food is what's making the biggest difference. I'm not saying you shouldn't be exercising. I think everybody should be out there moving, but you don't need to join a gym. You don't need to run miles every day. It can be as simple as dancing or gardening or walking. I mean, it doesn't need to be anything big. So we talk about lifestyle changes and adding some of those as well, but making sure that you're sleeping well. Eating this way will really help your sleep patterns, you'll find. And then also some of the other things that you will need to add, which are not a lot. Basically, it's vitamin B12 and possibly vitamin D, depending on your levels or where you live. The B12 is something we can't produce ourselves, and people who eat animals are getting that because the animal has eaten bacteria that has B12 in it. Actually, I just learned this last year. Most animals are not getting it through what they eat either. They're having it in supplement form, which is kind of mind-blowing. But this is the one nutrient that you won't be able to get from your food. As Dr. Greger says, it's because we're not eating our food straight from the ground with dirt on it, which even if you grow your own garden, you're not going to get enough of that. So you do need to take a supplement of B12, but that's, like I said, vitamin D is maybe the other one, but those are it. This is not something that once you change to be vegan or whole food, plant-based, no oil, not something you need to be going out and buying a bunch of supplements. I just sent out a newsletter on my experience with omegas, actually, because my omegas were slightly low. And it was suggested to me by 3 different plant-based doctors to take omega supplements, and I did. And I share all the science behind this, but why I stopped. And there's a fantastic video from CNS with Dr. Milton Mills discussing this with Jeff Palmer as to why we don't actually need to be taking extra omegas. We need to be eating real food, and our bodies will do the work. When you start taking omegas, your body thinks it doesn't need to do the work. And so that's the short answer on that one. But you aren't going to have to rush out and buy a bunch of supplements. So don't think that that's in the works. I talk about keeping this fun. Especially when I wrote this book, I thought I was writing this book for other parents and other young families like us. I mean, my kids were 6 and 8 when we did this, and I was trying to help other families because around the playground or at school, I was talking with other parents whose kids were suffering from allergies or asthma or all kinds of other issues, being sick all the time and looking for answers. And I was trying to suggest, again, at the time, I was mostly suggesting T. Colin Campbell's book, The China Study. And these parents didn't have time to read that book. That, it just wasn't in their realm of thinking at that time. I told T. Colin Campbell too. I love him. He's an amazing man. And I told him that I recommend this book all the time. But that for those who wouldn't start with that, I was hoping this book would be an entry-level book. And he was very generous and endorsed my book. But so I was looking for ways to keep it fun. How do you have meal times be enjoyable? And if you're a parent or a grandparent, you can be familiar with having meal times be a struggle. So I talk about in the book, I share different tactics that we used, which was mainly in the form of games that you could play at dinner. There's a jar that you could pull questions out of, and we played high, low, what the heck, which is just sharing. Everybody has a chance to share from that day, one high from their day, one low from their day, and one what the heck, which is really just what was something that happened that was surprising or crazy or just made you go, what the heck? So these are very simple things you can do, but as you're sitting around a table sharing and you're listening, even kids who were thinking they weren't hungry, as they're waiting for their turn to share their story or listening to a sibling or a parent or a grandparent's story, they'll find themselves starting to eat food. Now, this might not happen if they had a string cheese or goldfish crackers and were watching TV before dinner. But if they were not eating hyperpalatable foods and they were out moving and playing, and they're actually hungry, then they will be eating the food that you put in front of them. So games can be a very fun way to keep it fun. And you can put some new routines in place. Have your kids help you, your grandkids help you. There's such great buy-in from children. Most parents I talk to and grandparents were concerned that their kids or young ones would have a hard time transitioning to eating this way. And what I have found is that actually the opposite couldn't be more true. Kids, especially if they see a video on how animals are treated, and it doesn't have to be a graphic video. There, I put a link to, I believe it was a peanut butter ad that was a cartoon that talked about the orangutans and how when they're wiping out the Amazon to plant palm trees for palm oil, to go into some peanut butters and other foods, what this was doing to orangutans. And it's a 3-minute cartoon, but kids can see these things and they will make radical changes. And unlike adults who can maybe rationalize or set that aside somehow and choose to eat those foods some more, many times kids will not, once they know that chicken on their plate, that chicken nugget that they used to love, is actually from a real chicken, and they've seen what happens to chickens, they will choose not to eat that way. So it can be very helpful to have honest, age-appropriate conversation with children, and you'll be amazed. They might be the drivers in your family when, come a Friday night or something, and people are like, okay, well, we don't have time. Should we just go to our old favorite? It might be your grandchild or your child who reminds you, no, I'm not going to eat that. So share with your kids about what you're learning in age-appropriate ways. It will change the world. It will change their world, and it will change your world. I also talk about how, like I mentioned, we are a species that live in community, and how to do this, how to eat out, how to eat at other people's homes, how to eat in a business meeting setting, at a conference, all these things that are required as we go about our day-to-day lives. And eating out is not as hard as you think it might be. Most ethnic restaurants of any sort have vegetarian or vegan options. So it's really not difficult to go to an Indian restaurant or a Chinese restaurant or a sushi restaurant or a Thai restaurant and order a whole food plant-based meal. The oil can be tricky. If you're eating out at restaurants, often just assume you will have oil. But as far as eating vegan, it's really not as difficult as you think. Even in a steakhouse, you can eat a wonderful vegan meal. Steakhouses often have baked potatoes. They have sides of vegetables that you can order. You could just ask the vegetables to be steamed rather than cooked in oil. A salad bar is often available. So really any type of restaurant you can eat at, even fast food. When we started this, we live in California. We would do an 8-hour drive to visit my parents. And we stopped at In-N-Out in the beginning, in the early days, and we would just order a burger with no burger patty. So we had a bun, we had lettuce, onion, tomato, pickle, the things that went on it. No mayonnaise. We just did ketchup, mustard, and that was a sandwich. It's not ideal for every meal, but it was fine if we weren't packing our own food. You can do the same at any kind of sandwich shop. You can order a veggie or a vegan sandwich. Just ask for certain things to be held. So it is possible to eat out. It's not as hard as you think. Eating at other people's homes, I talk about how to do this with grace also. In the beginning, we decided that we were never going to be those people who would refuse to eat something. If we went to somebody's house and they cooked us a meal, then we would eat it regardless. But that never actually really happened. People started to know that we were eating this way for health reasons. It wasn't just a trendy fad thing that we were hopping on, that this really was for health reasons that we were doing this. I didn't mention earlier that my grandfather had Alzheimer's. When we did blood work and my cholesterol wasn't coming down as much, my doctor said there's a genetic test you can take to see if something else is going on here. And I did that. And it turned out that I carried the Alzheimer's gene as well, APOE 3/4, not APOE 4/4, which means you usually get Alzheimer's in your 30s or 40s. But I do carry that gene. When my parents came through town, we had them test as well. And my father carries that gene. This was like 7 years ago. My father is now in the mid stages of Alzheimer's. We also found out my son carries this gene. So for us, finding this out was, while disturbing, yes, it was good to know, much like the blood markers, having those to see, it was a way to remind us why we're doing this. Knowing that, yes, we have the genetics, we are predisposed to getting certain diseases, but our lifestyle choices, we now know, have a large impact on that. So the quote of genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger really is true. Genetics are maybe around 10% of whether we do or do not get a disease. It's our lifestyle choices, which are eating and sleeping and moving and all those other things that are really the determinants of whether we get a disease or not. So knowing this was very helpful for us. So friends and family were all of a sudden very happy to, they would call before we come over for dinner and say, well, I want to make a new recipe, you know, how is this one? Or what would you suggest? Another way of approaching this is bringing food to share with people. So at potlucks or church gatherings or wherever you're coming with a large group of people, bring a fantastic vegan dish to share with others. You can label it or you cannot label it. Sometimes people try it and be amazed. And so it's great to not have it be labeled vegan. Some people won't try it because it's actually vegan. They just see the word vegan and they won't try it. But I would also say you should bring extra of whatever you are making, because most people will try it and be amazed at how good it is. And we've had it happen where by the time we get into the line, our food is gone because everybody has enjoyed it so much. So there are ways to get around these social situations that you think might be preventing you from living in a different way, but they are very easy workarounds. And I talk about those. I also suggest that you share what you've learned, and that's what we're doing here, right? In VCOP 21 is talking about what are these big changes that need to happen and how can we be a part of it? So I suggest sharing with friends and family, even your doctor, who is probably not whole food plant-based. Maybe there are some, you know, growing doctors, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, trying to get this information into the medical tests that our doctors take. But many doctors have only had 1 to maybe 5 hours of nutrition training in all of their training. So likely what you're doing is new information to them. So share what you're doing with people. Even your friends who are doing keto or paleo or the carnivore diet, share the good news that carbs are really good for you. We're not talking, you know, chips and French fries and Oreos, but we're talking complex carbohydrates, potatoes. Most people who are eating these diets miss potatoes. So it's really fantastic news that they can eat all the potatoes they want. Just don't slather them with butter and cheese. So share this news that you now know. And then lastly, I talk about motivation, because it can be tricky to feel like you're the only one swimming upstream all the time. But as you find when you're at something like VCOP, there are many people around the world doing this. You are not alone. You are not the only one. You might be the only one in your family or in your community, but there are many other people around the world making this change that is necessary for us to have a habitable planet, to live healthily. And it can be very helpful to join communities so that you have what you need. So you can watch documentaries. That's another helpful thing. You can read books, be reminded of success stories, but joining things like VCOP, joining things like whole communities. That's the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies, their communities. It's a free network you can join. There's conversations, there's book studies, there's all kinds of things, lots of information there. Rip Esselstyn has Plant Strong communities. There are different communities all over. Reverend Beth Love, who has spoken at VCOP before, has Eat for the Earth community. So there are ways to do this that are that will keep you motivated and help you bring others with you along. So I'm not sure if there are any questions. I will open it up for questions and just leave you with the book is available wherever you purchase books. I heard Dr. Rao say that it was difficult to get his book, how he printed on Amazon because it was printed backwards. Amazon didn't like my title. It found it offensive, so I could never run ads on Amazon. I actually suggest buying books from Barnes & Noble or other places. But you can purchase that on Amazon or anywhere you get books, and find me at forforksakebook.com.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
That was wonderful and inspiring, and also it reminded me of my journey, and I bet people in the audience also have noticed big changes in their life when they went plant-based.
Yeah, yeah, and it really doesn't take long. That's what I want people to know. Most people come up with this list of things like, I can't do it now, or I will never be able to do it for these reasons, or I don't have the time. And I just want people to know how easy it is. Just give it 10 days and see for yourself.
Right, that's very good. Well, let's see. I don't know that there are any questions. If there are, please raise your hand or put them in the chat. And I will just ask, let you know that for me, I noticed a big change when I gave up dairy. My whole body felt like dancing. It was just amazing. It seemed like it was in a day, but it might not have been. I just remember the day I felt that, and it was a day or a few days afterwards. So big
Yes.
change.
So many people experience that, and especially those with any kind of allergies or asthma. That can be a big change for people.
Excellent. Okay, I see we have somebody to ask a question, and so we'll bring up Joya.
Hey,
Hi, Joya.
PJ. Hey, Rachel. It's so good to see you. I
Always good
just
to see you.
wanted to say what a joy it is to hear you talk, and what your book is too, because my journey has been similar to yours. I've had a lot of the similar experiences, but I have yet to integrate this into the wide world and to feel like I'm connected to the wide world and still have the joy and the positive energy that you radiate. So I just want to applaud you for that and thank you for your book, because it does make it fun and palatable and accessible to people who don't feel able or inclined to just move out of what I like to call the sad world, the standard American diet world, into the happy world, using your acronym HAPPY, healthy, and plant powered. Yay! But you are clearly happy and you're spreading it in a beautiful, beautiful way. So congratulations and thank you from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of all the other people who are being inspired and impacted by your message and your beautiful way of delivering it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joya. She's lovely. She's spoken herself at VCOP and has a wonderful ebook and an amazing success story. So thank you, Joya. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Bye.
I see that, oh, thank you, Joya. Sorry to interrupt. I love Joya too. Let's see. Ken's camera is not coming on, so while they're working on that, I'm going to let Gabrielle come forward. She has a question, so if somebody will spotlight Gabrielle.
Yes, I do, or we do in the chat. Someone says, I take omega-3 from algae. Why should we not take supplementary omega-3 when most vegan foods are low in it?
Yes, and that I have a newsletter that either just came out or is coming out shortly, because that is something I questioned in the last year. I eat a lot of foods that have natural omegas in them. I learned many years ago that it was about the ratio to omega-6 and omega-3s, omega-6 being primarily in the standard American diet, coming from things like fried foods. So if you eat less of those, you're eating more healthy omega-3s, that your ratio will be intact. But the short answer, and this, if you go to Center for Nutrition Studies or YouTube and look up Demystifying Nutrition with Dr. Milton Mills and Jeff Palmer, they talk about exactly what's happening in your body. And so the short answer is that when you're taking omegas from other sources, your body doesn't break it down into these 6 different ways of using it that it needs to do. And so when it's the similar kind of thing with iron, oftentimes we look like we have lower iron, but our body is just using it efficiently. So I would highly encourage people to watch that video, because it changed my thinking. I actually reached out to Colin Campbell and said, is this different? Should I be taking omegas? Because I have plant-based doctors telling me I should, and I have been for the last year and a half because my levels were low. Is this something that has changed? But the science has not changed. And we don't actually need to be taking algae oil supplements, definitely not fish oil supplements. But even the algae oil supplements, our body will not use omegas as efficiently when we're taking them in large doses in supplement form. That's the tip of the iceberg there.
Okay. There's another question here, or shall we do it now or later?
Go ahead. We've got just a few minutes, so
Okay.
Sure.
This person says, I've often heard people say those following a vegan or plant-based diet don't look that healthy. Oops, somebody else popped something in there. Here we go. That they may look thinner, faces and bodies not as filled out. Are there certain nutrient deficiencies that when depleted may help?
That's a good question. And I'm not a physician, so I can't speak directly to things that, probably if people are deficient in things, they might not look healthy. But from everything that I have found, if you are eating whole plant-based foods and a variety of them, you will be getting all the nutrients you need. It's like the argument that, we're protein deficient somehow. We don't actually need extra sources of protein. If you're eating whole foods, and I'm talking about foods that your grandmother would recognize, right? Beans, rice, whole carbohydrates, vegetables, fruit, nuts, and seeds. All these things contain all the amino acids and all the protein that we need. So you don't need to be adding specific things in if you're eating a variety of whole foods.
And the last part of that question was in complement with weightlifting, of course. We do have a weightlifter vegan that's a climate healer, Jeff Francis, and you can find his videos on YouTube. So thank you. That's all for now.
Yeah. Jeff Palmer is a 60-something-year-old vegan weightlifter as
Jeff
well.
Palmer,
You can
right,
find his information. Yeah. And Robert Cheek is another one, outspoken vegan. He has several books. So yes, you will not be muscle deficient if you're not eating animal muscles. That's not how it works.
Very good answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabrielle. And hello, Ken. Thank you. And we've got a couple of minutes.
I just met a fellow traveler today. Thank you so much. We started with the China study and we loved the 5% rule and lived with it for years. But my gosh, when we got rid of dairy finally because of friends pushing us on that, what a huge difference! What a huge difference. So the China study just makes sense. It just absolutely makes sense, and that's a great place to start. But you got to go all the way and get the dairy done too. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm very glad to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, Ken. And I 100% agree. I would hope that everybody will read the China study at some point, because in my mind, it shows plain and simple the black and white science as to what's happening. I will also share that my father-in-law was diagnosed in 2020, a week before everything shut down with COVID. At 66 years old, he was diagnosed with brain cancer, glioblastoma. And usually people don't survive more than a year with that diagnosis. And he was a cowboy from Montana. He would cut the steak fat off to eat it. He did not love vegetables. But at that point, he and his wife decided that they would try eating whole food, plant-based, no oil. He lost 55 pounds. He did do surgery, radiation, chemo. They weren't able to get all the tumor. He just passed away 2 weeks ago, but he lived over 5 years with glioblastoma and also with a Parkinson's diagnosis. But I would say the science supports that, in that he wasn't eating foods that, as we know from the China study, those foods that he was eating were not feeding cancer cells. Right. So even though there was a tumor there and it was growing slowly, he wasn't feeding it rapidly. We all have cells in our bodies that are cancer cells. We are either feeding them or starving them. So I wish more people knew the hard science. And hopefully everybody eventually will read the China study. Thanks, Ken.
Well, I'm just starting my 10th generation and my 10th decade, and no medications, nothing. Food is my medicine. Thank you.
Good for you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ken, and thank you, Rachael Brown. And I see we have one question list. Let me ask you, Rachael, would you mind if this one person who we don't have time for, if he could ask you his question in the chat?
Sure.
Would you mind
Yeah.
staying on for just a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit longer?
Just
Okay,
fine.
our next person is here, and we don't want to forget you, Mark. Thank you so much for being here.
Right.
All right. Well, do you have a, you bet,
She
thank you. Do you
seen
have a
me
closing
now.
remark? Somebody needs to mute. Okay, thank you. Do you have a closing remark, or was you ready?
That's it. That's it. Thank you so much. My closing remark is that big change can happen in a very short amount of time. So whether you eat this way or not, if you don't, please give it 10 days. And if you do already, grab somebody in your circle and bring them along for the journey, join them for 10 days, and linking arms, we can do this for our health and for the planet.
Thank you, Rachel. It was wonderful to hear you today.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I bet that brought back lots of memories of when you've changed and how you've changed, and the people that haven't changed yet. Welcome to the 21st Vegan Convergence of the Peoples. I am your Climate Healers MC, Rebecca Allen, and I'm so pleased to introduce you today to Darren Middlesworth. He does plant-based dog food, a healthy alternative for pups and the planet. Darren Middlesworth and his mother, Linda Middlesworth, founded VDog. He's also he's an online fitness coach with a focus on vegan nutrition for athletic performance. He works with a broad variety of clients. He's certified in plant-based nutrition, exercise physiology, and flexibility. And we're very grateful that he's here today. Please help me welcome Darren Middlesworth.
Thank you very much.
Uh-oh.
Oh, am I there?
Yes, you are. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that kind introduction. Okay, I'm here today to add to the discussion of big change, the pet industry's potential impact on the climate issues that we're dealing with, as well as the efficacy of plant-based nutrition for canine health, which are intricately connected. So the discussion really is one of, can we extend our sustainability factors in terms of our dietary choices to our pets and to our dogs in particular. So we've been doing this for 20 years now, since 2005, and have really come a long way in terms of the innovation and the formulations that we have come up with on the plant-based pet food side. And we're happy to also have some emerging science on our products. Largely, the information has been anecdotal over the years, and through just experience and what we've witnessed with dogs adopting to plant-based diets. So we are excited to now have some research to corroborate the evidence that we've already sort of acquired and witnessed over the years. And it's also really nice to see that there's going to be some future studies on plant-based nutrition, not only with VDog and VPlanet, but also globally with several folks around the world that are studying the efficacy of plant-based nutrition for canine health. So it's a very exciting time. We like to position plant-based nutrition for dogs as an alternative option, not necessarily to suggest that all dogs will do better on one diet versus another diet. But we have witnessed some really great changes in most dogs that adopt a plant-based diet. So it's in terms of allergies, in terms of inflammatory markers and other potential diseases that can be caused by inflammation primarily. So again, we're excited to be here and continuing to innovate and develop new plant-based alternatives for our dogs. And the other side of the equation, of course, is our ability to again extend plant-based nutrition to our dogs and to canine companions, and also lowering their impact in terms of their environmental paw print, carbon paw print. So there's really two sides to the equation here, and clearly globally pets, if you look at the numbers and the data behind the contribution of the pet food industry, both in the US and internationally, it's a very significant contributor to CO2 emissions. The numbers are quite staggering. They vary a little bit, so I won't use exact numbers at this point. But the research is coming in, and there's a lot of epidemiological studies going on in terms of impact of pet food and on the environmental piece of it. So whether sustainable pet food is a real thing, and the trend towards the humanization and higher grade meats and other products going into pet food industry is going to continue to increase that impact, that negative impact on the environment. So really getting the word out and the education distributed globally about plant-based nutrition for canine health as a viable option is really our bigger mission. So I'd like to go ahead and, if we could, play our recent documentary. It's a 7-minute documentary on the efficacy of plant-based nutrition, which focused on a study done on the V-Dog product. If we can play that now, and then we can field a few questions after that.
Fantastic, will do.
Dogs have been living alongside humans for more than 20,000 years.
They are very loyal. They don't act with a hidden agenda. And I just enjoy my time a lot with animals and less with humans. We have about 91 million dogs living in the United States. Most of these dogs are eating a meat-based diet. The amount of meat that we use for dogs and cats, it's equivalent to the meat consumption in the country of Italy.
And if all dogs and cats in the US had their own country, they would be the 5th largest meat-eating country in the world.
And because we are feeding these dogs a meat-based diet,
it is estimated that up to 30% of the total carbon footprint for food production in US comes from dog and cat food. To make matters worse, we are seeing dogs with similar health problems as people have on a diet that is heavy on animal products, like obesity and certain cancers.
There are many toxins that can affect the meat that's used to make dog food. So if we were to look at substances like lead from decades of automotive exhaust that have polluted the ground near highways and roads, most of that partitions into organs like the liver. And for pet food in particular, we often use those organ meats as part of the food that we're putting together for them.
So I was taught dogs are carnivores, period.
But I have traveled to some developing countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America.
And I was surprised that in some of these countries, dogs don't even eat meat or dairy because they don't have the money. And the dogs are perfectly fine, they're healthy. So we wanted to answer the very basic question. What happens when you take a clinically healthy dog and you feed that dog a vegan diet? For the study, we selected 15 dogs and we fed them for a year this plant-based diet. In dogs' years, a year it's equivalent to 6 to 8 years in humans.
We are doing a complete physical examination, extensive blood and urine analysis, as well as cardiac ultrasound exams.
We have a long axis view. We see the left hard here.
And we are going to follow these dogs for 12 months. We need to get blood from you, Smash. So
Smash has had quite a few health problems. He has a lot of allergies. He also has had a ton of skin issues in his entire life, so scratching himself constantly. Come here, Ricky. So there are only a few recipes that I can feed him. Knowing that he's allergic to a lot of animal-based diets, did find out that there was this plant-based study going on and wanted to enroll him and give him another option out there. Something that I'm really interested to see how my dogs do on it, to see if their health improves.
The main source of protein in the vegan dog food used in this study is pea protein. There is a variety of other plant-based ingredients that provide all the nutrient requirements of a healthy diet for dogs.
You know, a lot of people think that because we don't give them meat, they don't enjoy the food. But our dogs, they enjoy the food. They really, really do.
when I was doing this study, one of my students came and said, Dr. Melgarejo, I'm sorry, I really respect you, but my classmates think the Mexican doctor is crazy. Some of my colleagues told me, oh, that's cute. You're looking at vegan diets for dogs. That's not really good. And I said, yes, the best thing to do, present solid data. So the question is, can we give these clinically healthy dogs a plant-based diet for a year?
The results from the researchers here have been quite surprising, I'm not going to lie. There are certain things that I expected and certain things that surprised, I think, even the researchers themselves.
At baseline, all dogs were clinically healthy. We collected more than 3,000 parameters in 1 year from these dogs. For example, vitamin D, it's very important for bone metabolism and also for immunity. The vitamin D in 7 out of these 15 dogs was insufficient. At the end of the year, all of them, they were within normal limits.
The vitamin D concentration that they were able to measure in dogs normalized after more time on a plant-based diet. That really is contradictory to common thought.
Because the general consensus is that we get vitamin D almost exclusively